Good morning and welcome to the midweek. Now, today is a different day. It's a special day. A day full of opportunities. But like I always say, those opportunities will be utilized by those who have prepared for those opportunities. So how prepared are you? Get prepared every day once you step out and know that opportunities will come, but you can only utilize those when you're prepared for them. So get prepared and step out in confidence. Welcome to the AM show here on the Joy News channel. Well, today we'll kickstart with our news review, where we'll be having political scientist and director of Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Asante. He will be our guest. We'll bring you AM Sport. Muftao Nabila will present the segment for us, and then we'll bring you the big stories. Now, what is making rounds in today's big story? We'll be speaking to Kletos Dapila, who is MP for Jirapa. Of course, so many things are happening. You know that one of the issues that will probably feature in this discussion will be whether or not Ghana can deploy military to join the ECOWAS as they plan to venture into Niger to intervene in what's happening there. I'll also bring you a second conversation where Unite and Transform Ghana and the School of Research and Graduate Studies at GIMPA are hosting an ethical leadership series. This year's event is themed Importance of Ethical Leadership in National Development. Daniel Yao Demilovo, former Auditor General, will be speaking at this event. We'll bring you a snapshot of the event and what to expect of it. Augustine Ajimandia, who's advisory board member of Unite and Transform Ghana and co-founder and president Africa Professionals Network Switzerland, will be our guest. He will be in studio. Professor Wisdom Akpalu, chairman of Unite and Transform Ghana and dean of the School of Research and Graduate Studies, GIMPA, will be here as well. Today we'll be having some guests on the show. We'll be talking about a lot of things. Also on the show, we'll tell you about Transvar, a financial technological company with interest across remittance, digital banking, and payments infrastructure. This is driven by the need to financially connect the global diaspora to the rest of the world. It will be launched this week here in Ghana. The gateway to Africa. We'll be having that discussion as well. We'll bring you AM Business. Now, it's Wednesday. Katsi EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, would come your way with that segment. And today, we'll focus on the 10% withholding tax on winnings of sports betting and lottery, which started yesterday. It's a packed show, of course. You have your say as well. You can call in. We'll also do your comment on social media on topics that we'll be discussing here on the show, plus trending stories. All right, so that will be our show for you today. My name is Samuel Kojo Braze, and it's an honor to welcome you to the show. And grateful that you've allowed us into your space. It could be your home, you can be in the office, wherever. We're so grateful to you. Welcome aboard, and let's share a great day together. AM News is up next. Good morning and welcome to the AM News. Now, the Defense Minister, Dominic Nitul, on Tuesday, has been on a charm offensive in a desperate move to get opposition members of Parliament to back government's decision to deploy Ghanaian troops as part of the ECOWAS military intervention in Niger. Joy News is learning the ballet lines were firmly drawn in that closed-door security briefing, with minority MPs rejecting any commitment to deploy Ghanaian troops. They had demanded that the president seeks explicit authorization from Parliament before sending Ghanaian troops. Today, we have confirmation that ECOWAS is proceeding with its plan to get troops ready for deployment in Niger, where a coup d'etat had toppled the democratically elected government of Mohamed Bazoum. In fact, Accra will be hosting the Chiefs of Defense Staff of ECOWAS this week to draw up the plan of attack. We have more on that for you, but we know that Ghana is ready to deploy once the green light is given. Listen to the Defense Minister declaring that Ghana will commit troops.
ECOWAS has given the junta a 1-week ultimatum to hand over or face severe consequences, including the use of force. After the 1 week, we will seek the direction of the presidents exactly what they will do. But I can say that the member states are ready. If it means using force, the member states will be ready to do that. As I said, we're waiting for the direction from the commander-in-chiefs of the various armed forces across the globe. And if the decision is to use force, the armed forces of every country will contribute troops to use that force.
Well, 35-year-old Rashid Ahmed Anata, accused of having carnal knowledge of 12 minors in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region. This morning, the Wa Circuit Court for an in-camera hearing presided over by His Honor Jonathan Vugu. 9 of his 12 victims came to the court who gave a graphic and chilling evidence of the alleged beastly and amorous act. Anata has opportunity of cross-examining all of them. Joy News Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The case of 35-year-old popular MC Rashid Ahmed Anata was heard in camera right at the Wa Circuit Court. 9 of the 12 victims were brought into the court, all wounded. It lasted more than 2 hours.
The crowd was there in their numbers, but they have no access to the judge's chamber where the case was heard in camera. Unlike the previous days, there was a police presence to restore order. This is the first time the 35-year-old alleged sexual predator is meeting his victims at the court. 9 of the victims for the first time were in court for the in-camera hearing. All of them were hooded and brought into the court by an arch fortuna.
The court decided that it was not proper to expose the victims to the society. Because whilst we are trying them at times, we are using them as our witnesses. It is also important, and the law actually mandates us to protect their identity, to try and rehabilitate them in a sort. So we are taking every step that is necessary to secure the witnesses.
Principal State Attorney at the Attorney General's Department in the Upper West region, lawyer Said Abdul Shakur, who is leading the prosecution, recounted what transpired in court today.
Witnesses were it was quite graphic, and you wouldn't believe they were children. They told the story in a very, very consistent, very coherent manner. And we put in three of the ladies, 12 years and 13 years. We put them in today, and all of them testified. They were all cross-examined, and then that's how it ended today. So tomorrow we are going to continue with other witnesses.
You also let in on what to expect the coming days.
We are dealing with another set of 2 ladies, the 2 girls that were involved. That's what we are doing. If time allow us, we might deal with 4 in 2 separate dockets. We might deal with them. We want to make sure that all the children that are involved, we are able to take all that testimony before we bring in the technical people like the investigator, the medical doctor to come and testify. But the children, because their evidence is particularly necessary for our case, and particularly because they are very young, and they are, if you allow them time, they might even forget. We're trying to get it as early as possible. So our focus now is getting the evidence of the children before we move to other technical people.
Anata has no legal representation. The case is back in court tomorrow.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
Well, the National Youth Authority is calling on the youth to venture into volunteerism to enable them build their skill set in order for them to contribute to national development. CEO of the National Youth Authority, Pius Enam Hajide, was speaking at the launch of the Global Volunteers Corps in Accra. There is more in this report.
Volunteerism is not merely an act, it is a philosophy, a mindset that transcends borders and barriers. It is believed to be a force that empowers individuals to rise above challenges to extend a helping hand in the society. At the launch of the Global Volunteer Corps in Accra, the CEO of the National Youth Authority, Pius Enamhadzi, indicated that volunteerism in Ghana should be seen as an avenue for the youth to build their skill set and competencies.
Volunteerism is an avenue for young persons to build their skill sets, their own their competencies, whilst at the same time contributing to national development. At the National Youth Authority, through the National Youth Volunteer Program, which has about some 14 modules, we are implementing on 3 of the modules as we speak, including the youth in infrastructure, the youth build it, where the National Youth Authority provides the materials necessary and the young people's skills in carpentry, in masonry, electrical, engineering, and so on are leveraged to build critical infrastructure.
President of the Global Volunteer Corps, Stephen Kweku Dako, noted that while getting the youth involved in volunteerism may be tough, this initiative will implement strategies to make it appealing.
It starts with the individual. Now we have a number of opportunities that we are opening up to everybody. Now our opportunities are the individual opportunities that we have, where we will be training young people, we will be equipping young people, we will be building the interest of volunteerism in young people to go out there and do the best that they can to change their world. We will also be moving into communities to create awareness in communities for young people in the communities to also be involved in activities that will help transform the various communities. We also have other international opportunities across where you can also go out and volunteer and see how volunteerism is done elsewhere, just as we also be bringing other people from other countries also to our country to join the teaming youth, the young people, to make development happen in the various communities where they will be finding themselves.
He shed some highlight on generalized misconceptions on volunteerism.
As you commence volunteering, what is the rationale behind you going out there to volunteer or to create a change? If what matters to you is about the change you are going to cause or you are going to create, it doesn't matter the circumstances around it. It doesn't matter the situations that are discouraging, that will come your way. But the purpose you have in mind before even commencing to create that change or to volunteer is what will be beating more in your heart to do. So situations around should not deter or to discourage young people in volunteering.
It is expected that the Global Volunteer Corps do not simply unveil an organization, but rather unveil a platform that amplifies the voices of volunteers, nurtures their potential, and empowers them to be agents of change. For Joy News, Jacqueline Ansoma Yeboah.
Well, health authorities in the Bono East region have bemoaned the difficulties health professionals, particularly doctors, go through in securing accommodation when posted to the area. Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adumako-Boateng, was speaking at the 2023 mid-year performance review meeting held in Kintampo. Said the situation is adversely affecting the region's equity index. He wants local authorities to intervene to help address the region's doctor-to-population ratio. Anasabet has more.
This year's mid-year performance review meeting of the Ghana Health Services here in the Bono East region was held under the theme Building Structures for Quality Essential Service Delivery, Preparedness and Response for Emerging and Re-emerging Diseases, the Role of Community and Strategic Partnership. Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adumako-Boateng, bemoaned the need for stakeholders to help address the accommodation challenges for health professionals in some parts of the region, a situation he says is worsening the region's equity index.
For the first time in Bono East, we were able to get more than 10 doctors. There were 16 doctors for 2022. But though we have a lot of doctors coming to the region, we are still battling with equity issues. Honorable Chair, because there are some places that you had wanted to put the doctors there. to go and work. But lo and behold, they are faced with accommodation challenges. And this year when we met at the Nurses Forum, to the extent that when nurses are being posted to some districts and communities, that is the very time that the tenants or the landladies and landlords will increase their rent. How can we do this together?
He was also quick to appeal for support from stakeholders for strategic partnership capable of helping revamp the region's new medical stores, which is currently battling with the unavailability of some essential drugs.
Nanache, we are going to build on what? Existing structures. The medical store is complete, but it's empty. Nana, all the traditional regional medical stores that were started were given seed money, revolving fund, all of them. Because you cannot give seed money, if you cannot give a revolving fund, then you cannot really operate the medical stores. We are standing on these premises and asking the regional minister, traditional authority, Ministry of Health, that there is a need for us to refurbish and stock the regional medical stores. All that we are asking is about something like 2 million Ghana cedis, and we'll be able to do that.
Bono East Regional Minister Kwesi Edujan, on his part, reiterated government's commitments towards providing the needed support to the health sector, adding that the region has had its fair share of the government's Agenda 111 project.
The region has had its share of the many government programs, such as the Agenda 111, which is ongoing. We had about 4 of them, right? One is at Pran, one is at Tubodom, one is at Kajiji, and then there's the 4th one is at Businya. They are all doing very well. We are progressing very well on this. These hospitals are at various levels of construction.
He again assured that the Regional Coordinating Council will continue to lobby for resources as well as support the Regional Health Directorate to help improve the general health care needs of the people.
Ladies and gentlemen, the government will continue to provide resources for the Regional Health Directorate to improve upon health care delivery in the region. I encourage all relevant stakeholders in the health sector to collaborate effectively for a robust and efficient health services on the back of sound structures to have a strong health system to improve the health needs of our people in the region.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Kintampo.
Now, to other stories. Rotary, Lions, Rotaractor and Leo clubs have undertaken a joint health screening exercise in Abome, a riverine community along the Water Lake in the Eswejaman district of the Eastern region. The exercise saw 1,032 residents screened for bilharzia, hypertension, eye and dental conditions, and also benefited from a mental health awareness campaign, among others. The screening exercise also spearheaded by the Rotary Club of Akosombo Dam City.
About 58 Rotary, Lions, Retractors and Leo clubs joined forces to extend health care to the deprived Abume community. The Rotary District 9104 Governor, David Osei Amankwa, and the Second Lady, Mrs. Samira Baumia, joined hundreds of members from across the country to provide free health screening for the locals. The health screening exercise saw 1,032 residents screened for bilharzia, hypertension, diabetes, eyes, ears and dental conditions. The team also created awareness on mental health, dewormed children, and provided instant issuance and renewal of National Health Insurance Scheme cards for the beneficiaries for free.
The aim is that since they don't have access to medical care in their community, if they have the health insurance, they may be able to access a hospital which is just some meters away from their village. So the river is their only source of water, and it's the same river they defecate into. which exposes them to behavior cases. So we also administered praziquantel to them to help reduce the number of behavior cases.
What we do as Lions and Rotary clubs is to serve communities that are in need, and so we came together to serve this community of Abume, basically ensuring that their needs are met. And some of these things require a certain level of planning, and I think Akosombo, as young as they are, they've done well. It's a step in the right direction. Hopefully when we come together again, it will be bigger and better.
Some eye and ear conditions were identified during the screening exercise. An ear, nose and throat health specialist, William Hodge, warned against inserting foreign materials into the ear.
The public should desist from using cotton bud and any other thing or Q-tips into the ear. You are not supposed to remove the wax. The wax protects the ear. It lubricates the ear, protects it from insects. It's started to prevent what causes itchiness, because the ear already has what we call commensals, things that causes infection. But the presence of wax, suppresses this microorganism. So when you take the wax out, you are exposing the ear to infection.
However, the clubs are aiming to collaborate to provide a health center for the community.
I believe that having that kind of clinic or hospital in their town will go a long way to serve the health needs of the community. And so I believe that it's something that is worth looking into. We can partner with other organizations to ensure that this happens, and I'm sure that it's something that will be taken up in the near future.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Adome.
Now, the Minister for Local Government, Daniel Botwe, has called on stakeholders to reflect on why, despite the resources sunk in northern Ghana, the area remains underdeveloped. He said it was time to look back on whether the resources put really mirror the development that is seen. The minister raised this concern at the development in Tamale.
The local government minister made this call at a regional development forum in northern part of Ghana, organized by the National Development Planning Commission and the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development in Tamale. The forum on the theme, a policy trust achieving equitable and balanced development through effective project delivery in northern Ghana, was to profess solutions to the development challenges facing the area. Mr. Butcher said stakeholders should consider policies when implemented would improve the lives of the people.
That this forum should be used to discuss. Is that where we expected to have been? If not so, what happened? What has happened? And what should we do differently now? And I'm sure there are many other NGOs that we've not mentioned here. The SOCO project is going to give, in terms of connectivity, roads, food bridges, street lighting, 48 sub-projects, 582 sub-projects spread across 48 districts. And for the sake of SOCO, OT has been added. So what will make SOCO project different from all that I've tried to enumerate? Now all the projects, I'm sure I'm starting from 84, but I'm sure many projects have taken place even before 84. Many of the structures that have been built, are they still in use? I'm sure you'll be talking about dams soon. And if it's not so, what is happening?
Delivering her keynote address, Professor Ramatu Mahama Al-Hassan, Professor of Agricultural Economics, said the ecological zone of the area continues to be a bigger burden on the area.
We've had the north and in fact most arid regions of Africa have suffered from climate disasters, climate impacts for a long time, long before climate became a developmental issue globally. And we are still struggling with this challenge.
Northern Regional Minister Shani Al-Hassan Shaibu in a welcome address said even though the area is well endowed, economically it has been challenged.
We see these engagements and as an opportunity possibly to share information on regional developmental issues, building consensus around aspirations and priorities of Northern Ghana. Our socio-economic circumstances have been quite challenging despite the natural resources we are endowed with. Several factors ranging from colonial policy, low infrastructure development, endemic poverty, low capacity of human resource, low investments have accounted for the predicament. It is, however, fair to admit that several efforts have been made by governments, development partners, civil society organizations, government agencies to improve the situation. We will be the first to admit that these interventions have contributed significantly to improve the situation.
Local government service engineer Nana Atuata on his part said, though the northern zone has seen some development, more effort is needed to transform the area.
We must adopt a policy thrust to ensure equitable and balanced development in order to transform the lives of the people residing in this region. Honorable Chair, you would agree with me that in recent times there has been growing concern for the importance of equity in socio-economic development. This comes on the back of the increasing social and economic disparities and its attendant impact and consequences on the well-being of individuals, as evident in patterns of social exclusion, deep-seated poverty, and general limited access to social services.
And that's how we wrap up today's bulletin. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. The news review segment continues after this. All right, so good morning once again and welcome to the AM show. If you just tuned in, grateful that you've made a decision to join us and to allow us into your space. It's time for us to look at what the papers are reporting today. Well, I have the daily graphic, I have the New Crusading Guide, and my regards to my friend there, Ado. We also have the Finder, we have the Ghanaian Publisher, the Daily Guide newspaper, and the Custodian. And to help us do this is Dr. Kwame Asasante, one of my favorite guys on TV. Hi, Doc. Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm well. It's good to hear from you. Early morning like this. So once I hear your voice, I'm very okay. So let's start from the daily graphic. It says, revolutionizing education system, ICT key in STEM. That's according to ministry, comes with a picture of Yao Osei Educhum, education minister. It also has Galamsey Divorce Asari Chrome community deity not spared. Okay. Don't send troops to Niger. Presby Church urges Greater Accra intensifies ban on tricycles. Okay, so those are the stories. Let's start from this one. Now, there's a growing public disapproval of Ghana's involvement in contributing troops to the West African Standing Force to fight the military junta in Niger. Various civil society groups, academicians, politicians, and security analysts have condemned the move, calling rather for diplomatic effort to resolve the situation. The latest group to add its voice to the call is the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, which has indicated that it would be wrong for government to take a unilateral decision on the matter without broad consultation. In an exclusive interview with the Daily Graphic, the clerk of the General Assembly of the Church, Reverend Dr. Godwin Ninoy Odonko, said coup d'etat, which were becoming a rampant phenomenon in West Africa, should be a concern for all, stressing that it pointed to an urgent demand for African leaders to provide quality leadership for their citizens. Well, this has become a topical discussion for some days now. Doc, what do you make of this? Are we to provide troops, or we are to just remain here?
Or given the condition we find ourselves in, it is better we use the diplomatic route because there are a lot of things that weigh against us. If you look at resources, you look at even the dynamics in there, you have no choice than to use the diplomatic route. Look at even some of the leaders who have also used this route, that's the military route, to be in power, change their constitution and the rest of them. We have a whole lot that will be against us. So diplomacy is the key. Get people that the junta will respect and believe. Let them talk before you do everything. Otherwise, we'll come back to square one. But it boils down on the fact that there's something wrong with our governance system here. We are not giving the quality of governance that people require. Issue of human rights abuse, issue of poverty, lack of accountability. There is the growing concern of corruption and the rest of them, all bottled up to give us what? The issue of bad governance, which our leaders are not ready to fix. That is not to say that we support military coup and all that. I'll be the last person to say that. But these are the causes that we need to fix so as to what? Root out military from our midst in terms of what? The adventure in politics. It's not a good thing. We have struggled to bring a democracy to this far, so we can't sit down for it to slip. No, we need to do everything to salvage it. But the way to go for Niger is this diplomacy, nothing more, nothing else.
And your point resonates with a lot of people who have commented on this matter, that it looks like African leaders are not providing quality leadership, and that is what is prompting all of these developments. For example, a former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, speaking at the opening of the African Youth and Governance Convergence Conference at Mankasim last Monday, said the leadership in African countries who failed to ensure peaceful democratic changes in leadership and good governance must be ready for more violent takeovers. He said if African governments did not work harder to improve governance and transitions, they must be ready for possibly more violent takeovers of government. But again, the junta has indicated that their unwillingness to have any meeting of a sort with ECOWAS. How can then ECOWAS resolve this matter if the junta is not ready to meet them?
Yeah, that is why you use people who the junta will respect. If you look at the leadership, it's highly Islamized Muslim leaders. We have a lot of very respected Muslims who live in Nigeria and then other borders, other countries that share border with that country. These are people that you use. They go and talk, and at the end of the day, they have what it takes to be able to get a hearing from them. They will listen to them, and that's all diplomacy is about. You need to employ those who will be able to do the work, to go and speak on behalf of everybody. And then you go in full hawk to undertake your action. But if you really want to go ballistic with troops in there, look at the terrain. Do we have the accoutrement to fight? The terrain, our soldiers, are they, and when I say our soldiers, ECOWAS troops? Are they trained in such a way that they're able to fight in the desert and the rest of them? Do they have the aptitude for that type of work, business and all that? Have you also talked about the team that they are going to, the group they are going to meet in terms of their military power and the rest of them? Remember that Niger has one of the strongest army in, the west coast of Africa. And you are not going to have it easy. And if you look at the fact that you are likely to have casualties and the rest of them, all things point to the fact that diplomacy should be the key word, and then it should work. If you employ the right tactics and then you use the right people to, be in the forefront to champion the process, I'm sure, I have no doubt in my mind, you will get somewhere. But it is a signal to us that governance, we should take it seriously and then improve upon it by the day, because we are seeing rampant nature of this phenomenon. It doesn't bode well for people who have struggled to bring democracy to this far. Remember that soldiers always live in their thinking that they have the magic wand to turn things around when the issues become so difficult to handle. That type of theory is what really edged some of them to stage coup and all that. So we need to disabuse their minds by performing well as a government, giving quality of governance to our people, so as to not open the floodgates for all this type of adventurism, which doesn't help anybody. We have seen military regimes, and all that they do is rhetoric and all that. At the end of the day, when their real selves come out, we'll see that, look, they are not close to even a worse form of democracy. So we don't have to create the enabling environment for soldiers to take over. Democracy, we have struggled so hard to build it, and we can lose it. We can't. I can assure you, we cannot.
All right. So for you watching us at home, wherever you are, what is your thought on this matter? You can join us on Facebook, leave your comment there, and we'll share it with the rest of our viewers. But Doc, just by way of information, we understand that, and this is on the page 5 of the Daily Graph, it says, religious and political leaders in northern Nigeria are making considerable effort to achieve a diplomatic resolution of the crisis in Niger and thus prevent an ECOWAS military intervention with potentially disastrous consequences for their regions. After the failure of 2 mediation missions launched by the West African Bloc, whose emissaries were not received by Niger's new strongman, General Abdurrahmani Tiani, ECOWAS increased its pressure on the military regime. Thus, 2 delegations of religious leaders from northern Nigeria, with whom Nigeria has strong cultural, economic, and linguistic ties, managed to meet with General Tiani in Niamey. First on Wednesday was former Emir of Kano, Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, who took General Tiani's demands to President Tinubu upon his return to Abuja. Then on Saturday with Sheikh Bala Lau, leader of a Salafist-inspired Islamic movement, whose mediation mission was carried out in agreement with the Nigerian president. At the end of the meeting, the Sheikh reported that the military regime had said it was open to a dialogue, giving hope for the start of negotiations with Abuja. So maybe the military intervention may not be needed after all, but let's see how this goes.
It's my hope and prayer that those who have started the good work will get to its logical conclusion. I have no doubt in my mind that the Islamic leaders will be able to work the magic for all of us. Yeah.
We're still on the news review segment of the AM show with Dr. Kwame Asante. He's a political scientist and also the director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Now, moving on to other stories. Okay, so let's look at page 13. It says, Galamsey devours Asari Krom, community deity not spared. The story is written by Emmanuel Ba from Asari Krom. It says, Asari Krom, a farming community in the Amansie West District in the Ashanti region, is literally bleeding as the community has been completely taken over by illegal mining, commonly called Galamsey. This has left natives in despair as their main source of livelihood, farming, is in ruins with vast tracts of land, even the community's deity mined out. Already about 560 acres of the small community have been consumed by illegal mines. some of whom are foreigners who carry out their large-scale activities with bulldozers and excavators. The situation has resulted in an increase in the cost of food items in the community. The environment has been ravaged, water bodies polluted, and farms and forests destroyed. Indeed, cassava, which could sell for 5 cedis in Kumasi, the regional capital, is being sold at between 15 and 20 cedis in Asari Krom, a suburb of Mansung Kwanta, the district capital. Doc, it looks like we are not going to win this fight, because after all these years of, the fight against Galamsey, and today we are told that in Asari Krom, over 500 acres of land has been consumed by illegal mining activities. That is mind-boggling. How do we deal with this after all these years?
I'm sorry to say this, that we are not ready to deal with this. Who is supposed to help us in this battle? We have actors. The first one is government. Is government ready? All right. The capacity of the state is weak in terms of regulatory capacity, the ability of the state to use law, enforce them, to check these things. The state is, sitting aloof, as if nothing is happening, and you don't see any leadership in this direction. All that we hear is what rhetoric and semantics and the rest of them. You saw the president promise. Has he been able to deliver this? I mean, this is where the whole business should start, where we need leadership by example here, that you make sure that you put your foot down and address this. But the government is not ready, right? The people also in the community, I also blame them. Why are they not also, checking on these things that affect their own survival, right? Community leaders, chiefs, and all that. Why have they also yielded to this? So it's a whole mix of factors. But I blame the government, because government is the one we have given the power, our mandate, our sovereignty to regulate these things on our behalf. So if a government fails in this direction, then who else? But we will continue to bring the advocacy out, urge people to desist from this, and educate people that it is in our collective interest to protect our environment and make sure this practice ceases and ceases forever. Otherwise, we are going to bear the brunt of it. And I'm not sure we are ready for the consequence. This is just the beginning. You are losing arable lands to Galamsey. You are losing crops. Food is being affected. Look at the conversation about food security that is, being threatened by the day, and we are destroying the forest in such a manner that nobody seems to care. What are the security apparatus there who work in that enclave? Have they seen them? Or are they using farming instruments or simple instruments that they are not able to see these people? It's a shame on us. I mean, and the earlier we deal with this, the better. Otherwise, we will pay dearly for this. I'm sorry to say this.
All right, okay. I'm grateful to you. Let's deal with this one and then we move on. I want us to look at the GRA lottery taxation, which has taken effect. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority has commenced the implementation of the application of the tax laws of lottery operators across the country. Effective yesterday, all lottery operators commenced withholding 10% of winnings and paying as taxes to the Ghana Revenue Authority. Lottery operators, including private lottery operators, sports betting operators, casino operators, route operators, remote interactive games, and other games of chance operators are also expected to pay a 20% tax on their gross gaming revenue. Look, a lot of people have commented on this and they seem not to agree with this. What do you say?
I am always in support of the ability of the state to raise revenue. It is part of the function of the state to ensure that its capacity relative to what extractive processes is upheld, right? So on that score, we believe that if the government has a means of raking in revenue through taxation, why not? But it shouldn't be disincentive to work and productivity. So the fine balance is where you need to work out and work effectively. In addition to this, what I want to see from the people who manage resources on our behalf, and I'm talking about the politician, is what effective utilization of what such resources. More often than not, we are quick to take what taxes and all that, but how useful or what is the prudence that we apply to them in terms of what its usage? That is where the problem is. So I believe that government should be able to take taxes and build a society. But I want government to be able to also put the taxes into effective use. That is the way to go.
All right, thank you. Let's do the Daily Guide newspaper now. On the front page, it says, tricycles banned in Accra business districts. Police Immigration GRA top corruption report. Ayoko shakes passport office. Baby thief escapes death. And Energy Ministry Secretary in court for stealing 287,000 cedis. Okay. Now let's go to page 3 of the paper. It says a 2022 corruption report has once again exposed the country's public sector, citing major public institutions. According to the findings of the survey, Ghana Police Service emerged as the most susceptible to bribery among all public officials, with an alarming prevalence rate of 53.2%. This was followed by the Ghana Immigration Service and the Ghana Revenue Authority, with bribery rate of 37.4% and 33.6% respectively. Other institutions included Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority DVLA with 29.5%, passport agency officials with 29.0%, and prosecutors, judges and magistrates with 22.3%. The survey was conducted by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime in partnership with the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice and the Ghana Statistical Service. Well, Doc, I'm sure this is not surprising, but the main question is, how do we deal with the canker?
The same question also, I flip it back to you. Are we ready to deal with this? We have seen this. This reportage is not new. We have seen countless of this reportage in the CDD research that they've done over the years. So this has not deviated at all. But are we ready to deal with it? Yes, we always want the world to believe us that we are fighting corruption. But are we ready? There are very important things that we need to do. That will, first of all, you need to have a political will to fight corruption. You've seen governments in the Fourth Republic, particularly this government, always is just rhetoric. I mean, we'll do this, we'll do this. But is that what we are seeing? This report goes to confirm what you see in Transparency International, their report and all that. We are not close to winning the war against corruption, because there are clear things that if we are serious about it, we'll be able to do. One is to get the political will. Two, allow institutions to work. When we undermine institutions, they will not work. And it's unfortunate. The very institutions that are at the forefront of the fight against corruption, some of them are complicit here. You talk about the judiciary, you talk about the police, immigration. So where do we go from here? But there is something that is also missing in our society, is the socialization, where we inculcate proper values in people from childhood to adulthood, so that they don't depart. Issue about corruption and all that, where do we treat them? At a tertiary level and all that. It must start at the beginning, the foundation of our schools and all that. Let's get into part of our curriculum, so that the children learn the basis of all these things, they grow with it. Then we don't wait till they get to a university or tertiary institution where we begin to educate them about corruption. By which time they have become so adamant, and that they are not prepared to ensure that there's a change. And then the way our society, the way we view things in our society, where we praise people for wealth that they have acquired, that we even don't know the source and all that. All these things are a factor that really contribute against the fight against corruption. It's unfortunate. the institutions. Because if you tie it to what the concept of good governance, you need institutions who will be at the forefront to fight corruption. They themselves are complicit. So where do we go from here? We need to rise up.
All right, now page 9 of the Daily Guide newspaper says import trade deficit hit 4.5 billion in 2022. The story is written by Abigail Atinuke, Seram Adeyemi. Says the country's import in 2022 amounted to 148.6 billion cedis, indicating that import were 4.5 billion cedis higher than export, which was valued at 144.4 billion cedis. The Ghana 2022 Trade Vulnerability Report released by the Ghana Statistical Service has reviewed. According to the report, the value of import was higher in the 9 out of the 12 months of that year, with September being the month with the largest variation, where import exceeded exports at 4.5 billion cedis. It also highlighted that the country has 209 import partner countries as opposed to 161 export partners. The report presented by government statistician Professor Samuel Kobena-Enim is the first publication produced by GSS that reports on the country's trading activities. According to Professor Enim, the report is important as it highlights the country's international trade vulnerability, which has the potential to constrain the strengthening of the country's economy. I'm sure we need to then increase on export. How do we do it? Any ideas?
You add value. Simply put, you need to add value. The Georgesburg economy must change. But what are we hearing? Rhetoric. Oh, we'll change it. We'll do this. Look, we need to walk the talk. We should get serious, because you see, we take this position because anytime we are in difficulty, people come to our rescue. IMF, World Bank, European Union. A day will come, they will not support us. That's where the reality will dawn on us. We need to take our destiny in our own hands and work these things out. You start something little, build on it. Where's the Dinstu factory that Kufuor time was built and was producing the results? Where are they? We have a lot of cocoa beans here. We continue to send them abroad. Can't you start something little here, adding value and encourage our people to depend on paddy rice and the rest of them? We are not serious as a people. I'm sorry to say this, but this is what the plain truth. I must hit all of us so that it bring in awareness for us to take an important step. Because the tangent we are going, I'm afraid a time will come, we'll come back to base and then take a very important decision. But we need to act very fast. Time is not on our side.
Okay, let's turn to the New Crusading Guide newspaper. It says Pragya Aboboya banned in main Accra street. Call the CID boss to order property owners appeal to IGP. New Age Agric Solutions unveils hybrid maize seed. Says Champion Sharp Sharp is game changer. CSR to mark 10 years of creating value for business and society. And Gomofeta Chiefs fight Church of Pentecost for disrespecting their stool. Also, Akwansre ropes in Ochenyene over land grabbing accusations. Now, on page 3, it says, at last, the menace of motorists sharing roads with tricycles, popularly known as Pragya or Aboboya, on highways and some principal streets in the central business district, thereby causing persistent traffic congestions and disorderly scenes, which has given rise to indiscriminate parking and disregard for traffic regulation, would be no more. The Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, effective immediately, has banned the operations of Pragya and Aboboya in the Central Business District of Accra Metropolitan, Krowo, Koleklote, Tema Metropolitan, La Dadikotopong, La Nkwantanan, Madina, Ayawaso East, Ayawaso West, Ayawaso Central, Ayawaso North, Lejekuku, Okankwe North, in an effort to mitigate traffic congestion and restore orderliness on the street of Accra. Kumasi did saying now Accra has taken has followed. You think that's how, anytime this decision is taken, the Pragya riders do have a counter to that. How do you think we should ensure, a peaceful transition from when we allow them on the street to when we say don't come on the street?
I think I support the decision of the authorities, because if you see the activities in the heart of the city, it's nothing but nuisance, and it creates difficulty for everybody, and it puts lives in danger, right? So this decision is nothing but the best. But what we need to do, in addition to this, is to be also to find an alternative route for them to apply their vocation, so that they also can make what ends meet. So you can push them to the periphery of or the capital, if that is the way to go. They should be able to craft something beautiful for them, so as to also not to disadvantage them forever. They need to also survive, and so they need to find a very fine balance to deal with it. But I support the call, because they have thrown the rules of driving into the dogs. They don't care a hoot about sanity on the roads and the rest of them, and the risks that they pose, this state cannot bear. But I support the call that they should also be given a place where they can operate, and then ensure that they also will have a means of livelihood. That said, we also have to create, ensure that transportation is effective. All these things have come in because we have deficit in transportation. It's so difficult when you are traveling from one point to the other, especially in the capital. It's a difficult, but sometimes I ask myself, we lack ideas. Go to other jurisdictions. You will see that the middle portion of the road, they use tram and the rest of them. If you look at the architecture of this country, for that matter, the city, we have a whole vast of land lying in between the highways, the two roads on each side, on the various side of the road. And what are we using it for? Go to Switzerland, you will see tram being used at the middle. Can't you employ this? And it will serve as trotro running through all the suburbs in Accra here. That will ease congestion. And it is not difficult to do, because already the architecture is there. What are you? Look at Adenta to Ayimensa, that stretch of land which sits in the middle of the road, which is virtually like a forest today. What are we using it for? We should begin to look at the basis and get it right, if we really want to fix this problem once and for all.
The Director of Criminal Investigation Department of the Police Service, DCOP Faustina Kofi, stands accused of allegedly scheming to take over land belonging to the Anokwe and Tuaka families at East Legon in Accra. They are therefore appealing to the President, Nanado, and the Inspector General, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, to call her to order. The principal elders of Anokwe and Tuaka families who spoke to this paper accused DCOP Faustina Kofi of using police personnel to eject them from their property, relying on an order of possession which had already been quashed by the Supreme Court in judgment delivered on November 10, 2020. In that judgment, the Supreme Court ruled that a High Court judge, which granted the order for possession on June 2020, was bereft with jurisdiction in reopening the case under the guise of interpreting the judgment, and went completely outside his jurisdiction in a case that judgment had been delivered by him about 5 years ago. We therefore proceed to quash the proceedings of the 24th June 2020, and same is hereby quashed, unquote. All of these issues about land and challenges, for example, now this family is blaming the Director of Criminal Investigation department herself for trying to take over their land. How do we deal with land issues in this country?
Oh, I think that this case, the way they are appealing it to the IGP, I think he will use his good officers to address this. But come to look at, land and problems associated with land generally in Ghana, it's a problem. It's a big one. We started having some relief when the Land Administration Project came on board. What is the state of that program? I have no idea, because I believe that was the way to go with the Land Administration Project. It was such a beautiful program that was supposed to sanitize the whole process. But I don't know the state of affairs now. We need to go back to that and ensure that it works. If there are problems associated with that one, we need to fine tune and get it to work. If the program has also ceased, why not? And that now we still have the problem lingering on. Then we need to devise a new one so as to deal with this problem head on. It becomes one too many, and it undermines productivity, and it affects every aspect of our lives, because land is an important factor of production and everything. It is critical that we address this issue once and for all.
Now, let's deal with the Custodian newspaper. It says, Print Park, Peace Watch Ghana to promote peace. Stop chasing BOG, majority leader to minority. Government equipping youth to start businesses, according to Frema Osei Opare. NDC vets MP aspirant in 10 constituencies today. Akwetia needs effective MP, that's according to Dache. Okay, now on page 3 it says, Majority Leader Osei Sabonsu has described as misplaced the call by the Minority Caucus for the resignation of the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, and his 2 deputies, following the loss of 60.8 billion at the central bank. Following the loss of 60.8 billion incurred by the bank in 2022 with a negative equity of 55.1 billion cedis, the Minority Caucus, led by Dr. Kaysel Atoforson, held a news conference during which it accused Dr. Addison of mismanagement and recklessness. Now, even though the BOG explained it lost the money through its support for the government to restructure its debt levels and stabilize the Ghanaian economy, the minority group threatened to storm the central bank to chase out the BOG governor if he did not resign within 21 days. However, speaking on the issue, Mr. Chemi Sabonsu dismissed the call, admonishing the minority against making, quote, everything about MPP and NDC, unquote. Your thought?
The question also I have for Majority Leader is that, have there been any breach of rules regulating conduct of, the people who operate our central bank? Is there any breach of law? If there is, then answers must be provided for that. It is in this spirit that I speak, because if you listen to the conversation and the rules governing the work, that it means that something has gone wrong with regard to what the rules of the game. And that is what I'm sure the NDC want answers to. Using demonstration or going to picket there is part of their constitutional right and part of what public opinion tools and that political actors use. So I will not fault them. But the real issue is that you can never govern any public office without the rules of the game. A few years ago, you remember how the central bank cracked the whip on those who have fallen foul of the law. And today, is history. So if there are rules that the central bank have also broken, why not? What is, after all, what is good for the goose is good for the gander.
Okay. Now, government equipping youth to start businesses. The Chief of Staff at the Presidency, Madam Akosua Frema Osei Opare, has reiterated government's commitment to initiate policies that will increase productivity and the growth of the Ghanaian economy. She said government is fulfilling this pledge by continuously providing skills for the youth to set up their own businesses and contribute to a sustained development of the country. Madam Frema Opare gave the assurance at the official launch of Youth Employment Agency's Youth Employment Garment and Apparel module in Kumasi. Free SHS policy, free TVET intervention, and the numerous business support schemes, according to her, part of policies towards youth startups and youth entrepreneurs across Ghana for improved living conditions in the country. If you look at what is happening, this module of empowering the youth to start up their businesses in the garment industry, you agree that, government is doing something positive in this regard?
I support that. You Start is a good program, provided it can be sustained, and then the youth will be giving the needed resources to support what they do. I have no doubt in my mind that it's a good thing. But we have seen it in this country time and again that when it comes to what the real support, sometimes government chickens out. I believe that this time government has learned its lesson and they want to support this program to its logical conclusion. Once you empower the youth, they are able to what? Move into businesses of their own. Then you are in effect reducing unemployment, which is gradually becoming a threat to our security of the security of this country. So I support that call, but it must be in what? A sustained manner. I have also heard that they are also, urging the youth to go into agriculture and all that. That is also the spirit of development. I support that, but the same issue here is that you need to be able to what? Sustain the effort so that people don't get in only a few days and run away and come and hit the street that they are looking for a job and all that. The real issue is that we need to what? Put it on a sustained basis so as to what? Reap the benefit that is associated with it.
Dr. Kwame Asante, I'm grateful to you for joining us here on the News Review segment.
I'm also grateful.
Well,
I wish you were good.
Okay, yourself too. Now, he is a political scientist and the director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Good morning to my MTTD guys in Agona Nkwanta, Inspector Moses Animal and your squad. I'm told you're watching us, so good morning to you. Now, the common to Agona Dame, Nanimamzem, Demdikabila, and what DNA Wagner Dakane. I'm the more than the can da kabadama baba kivra. Miska hane debe nebia yebela and sahane badmona de bela hobo ole. All right, so that is how I want to wrap up the news review segment. Up next is Muftao Nabila with the sports.
Good morning. Let's do sports now on the AM show. I am Muftao Nabila Abdullah, and we start on a note of politics as Accra House of Oaks board member Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo throws his weight behind current president of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, for a second tenure in office. According to him, he believes that Kurt Okreku has done enough to win the confidence of the football community to give an opportunity to steer the affairs of football for the next 4 years. Let's take a look at what Nyaho Tamaklo has said on your screen right now. He said, I want to endorse Kurt Okreku for to be able to continue as president of the Ghana Football Association. He says that under Kurt Okreku, the Ghana Football Association has been able to govern football and provide some of the necessities for the development of the sport in the country. He also added that Kurt Okreku had come at a time where Ghana football was facing some challenges and he's been able to stabilize things at the FA. That is Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. This indirectly means that Accra House of Oak will be throwing their weight behind Kurt Okreku, and during the elections, they are likely to vote for the executive chairman or former executive chairman of Dreams FC. Now let's hear from Kurt Okreku himself, who's been speaking at the FIFA Football for Schools program, and he says that this is a program that has the potential of giving youngsters an opportunity to hone their talent and reach the heights that football will provide for them.
You having passed these exams marks the beginning of your role in transferring same to many other people and to our kids. It's important you truly consume what you've been taught. It's important that you carry on with the passion of transferring what you have been taught today to other people and many others who are not here with us today. That you will hear today speaks volumes of your commitment to be part of a big story that has started unfolding today. The young kids that we find right in front of us will eventually be some of the stars that will be watching in the years to come.
Now, let's move on and talk about Samuel Inkum. He completed a switch to Accra House of Oak after a failed attempt to return to Kumasi as Santi Kotoko. And he says that House of Oak's failure to make it into the top 4 of the Ghana Premier League last season was due to complacency on the part of players.
I spoke to Sule Mutari and I told him that I want to come and train, and it's okay, why not? So let him speak to the coach, and after he will let me, the time that they will start training. So I went to the training, and I started training, and some of the fans started, I couldn't understand how they were so, how to say, I feel at home, They want me to play for the team. They receive me very nice. They welcome me, something that I didn't expect it. So I said, okay, then let me play for them.
And you played for them?
And I played for them. Even before I went to the first training, I spoke to Safu Jemfi, which is Kotoko.
Oh, okay.
So he was trying to say, oh, wait a little bit, let me speak to them, let me speak to the coach, let me speak to...
okay, he was still trying to speak to Kotoko, so he could come there instead, yeah.
But I told him that, listen, at the end of the day, if they want me to be there, it will happen. So, even me telling him I'm going for training, it was a big issue. But I told him that I respect you so much, you are a legend, and you are somebody that, when I was in Kotoko, he's somebody that I respect so much, and I told him that at the point in time I have to move on. So when I started training with House of Folk, I feel like, oh wow, they want me to be there. They want me to be the part of the family, the Phobian family. So I was so excited to be there.
Did you play for House of Folk for free?
In my opinion, I would say something like that, in my opinion, because if I want to talk about in terms of money, you understand, where I've got my level into, and coming to play for House of Folk. House of Folk is a huge club. It's one of the best traditional team in Ghana, in Africa. Everybody know, well known. And I count myself lucky to be in that team as well. But I'm not playing for free. Everybody have to be, when you work, you have to be paid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not.
They paid you something, but not.
Yeah.
Like.
Yes.
Yeah. But, and everything. Even if it is 1 city, it's still a salary.
Yes, it's salary. That's why I appreciate it.
But in your period at House of Oak, there were many difficulties on the field, off the field. I remember some time you had even a go at some of your colleagues, telling them if they're not willing to play, they should move on. Why? Were you getting frustrated?
No, sometimes the young players that we have, they are very good players. We have good potential players in Ghana, and sometimes some of them doesn't know what they have. So some of us have to also be on them, push them harder to let them know that, hey, you have something that maybe you don't think that you have something, So I'm telling you that you have to. This is the kind of, you want to go to Europe, but it's step by step. If you don't play very well, who will see you in Europe? Nobody can see you. Play the team very well. Let the team feel that, okay, you came and you have done something, so that when you also have contract, the way will be very smooth for you to go.
And they will let you go.
They will let you go. So this is some of the things that sometimes I will even call meeting, organize a meeting, call all the players, and even at the point in time, one of our games, I seize all of them phones, for them to stay focused, you understand? Because yes, phones are good, but when you have the job that gives you food, you have to respect that job. 20 minutes for the game to start and you are on your phone, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't tell you that you are a professional. Respect the kind of job that you do, and then God will give you the rest. So that is why sometimes I'm more like a coach, but I was not a coach. I want to be on them, you know. And the boys also respect me also. They like me so much because I always encourage them. I always let them know that, hey, you have something that you have to appreciate it. You have something that you have to do extra, you push yourself, you know. So this is sometimes that you go to a point that more like a coach or maybe a team manager or something like that.
What was the major challenge at House of Folk?
I think it's got to a point that the board chairman is of His Royal Highness Tobo Afede and his board and the management. To be honest, they were doing everything for the team. We went there several times, meetings for the board chairman to talk to us, to motivate us, you know, to let us know that this is the job that you do. You have not learned any job apart from football. So whenever you have chance to play on the pitch, you have to give everything. And the board chairman was saying, we have to be ambitious. You have to have the ambition that we want to do something. So, but sometimes I got to know that the fault is not from them. The fault is from the playing body. So that is why I begin to go harder on some of the players, try to enter their mind to push them to do extra.
What was the fault from the playing body?
You know, like, okay, we are House of Folk, like playing against, let's say, RTU, playing against, let's say, Gold Stars, playing against, let's say, Accra Lions, or maybe Dream FC, we are going to win. You know, we just take it that we will win. And by the time we just being ourselves, we are down. You understand? So the mindset itself was very down. You know, we take everything like, okay, normal, we win, we are Accra House of Folk. But now football doesn't work like that. Any team that who is ready to play against Accra House of Folk, the team will do extra to beat. He want to be in your shoes. He also want to play in House of Folk. So that is some of the things that we were facing. We were facing a lot of challenges, like where complacency is killing us, you understand? But we have good team. We have very good group that I saw that why not? We can even go to Africa to make even big impact. But football, if you don't prepare your mind, if you don't do extra training, if you don't stay focused, I don't think you can get the result that you need.
All right, so welcome back to the AM show. Now, let me acknowledge Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic for supporting us to bring you the news review segment. And Endpoint is offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening. They are located in several areas in Accra, Spintex opposite Shell signboard, in Kumasi, Kronum, Abuehia behind Angel Educational Complex. In Takrade, they are located in Anaje Estate and Tema Community 22, Techiman, Hanswa. In the Nzima area, you can find them in Esiama. Call them on 0244867068 or 0274234321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic diseases. Well, so joining me in studio for this, and of course we're going to have a wide range of issues to talk about. I have Honorable Kletos Seidu Dapila, is MP for Jerapa, is with me in studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Great.
Yourself?
I'm fine. Great to have you in the studio.
Thank God for life.
True. All right, let's go through some of the issues with regards to ECOWAS. That's where we're beginning from. Now, ECOWAS has declared or has gotten its military on standby. We understand that this week the military chiefs in the ECOWAS sub-region will be meeting in Ghana to decide on how to proceed. Now we're asking the question, can Ghana afford to deploy? Let's share with you some of the things we've put together here. Now, ECOWAS activate a standby force for possible intervention. Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwu says the military is ready. That's something that he's told us. Again, we understand that there's going to be an extraordinary meeting in Burma camp 17th to 18th August 2023. That's for ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense to then decide on the way forward. Now, for the Niger coup, ECOWAS has made several interventions. We know that they gave an ultimatum. Now, if that ultimatum failed, they also decided when they declared that they are going to make a military team to stand by, they said diplomatic negotiations are still open. And so the status is that that's also pending, because as we speak now, it's some religious leaders in the northern part of Nigeria who are mediating for now. So diplomatic negotiations are still pending between ECOWAS and the team, because the team has decided not to meet ECOWAS at all. Military intervention, that's pending, because that's something ECOWAS has decided that it's making the military team to stand by for in case it has to deploy that. Now, we understand that they are projecting a brigade of 5,000 troops, as the military team to enter Niger. And that is going to cost us 2.3 billion. So that's what ECOWAS will be funding the troops with. Deployment of troops on demand will cost $360 million. So that's what we know for now. Now, the minority in Parliament say that if you look at Article 40, it says promote respect for international law, treaty obligations, and the settlement of international dispute by peaceful means. So they're using Article 40, but looking at the C, of that article, which says promote respect for international law, treaty obligations, and the settlement of international dispute by peaceful means. Now, majority in Parliament is also using the D of Article 40. So Article 40, Section D, it says adhere to the principles enshrined in or, as the case may be, the aims and ideals of the Treaty of ECOWAS. Okay, so that should be IV rather, because the Article 40D says adhere to principles enshrined in or, as the case may be, the aims and ideals of the Charter of the United Nations, the Charter of the Organization of African Unity, III, the Commonwealth, and the IV, the Treaty of the Economic Community of West African States, and V, any other international organization of which Ghana is a member. So that is what it is. Now, so armed forces personnel in ECOWAS countries, let's look at it. If you combine all of ECOWAS, our total number is 489,000. Cape Verde has 1,000. Senegal has 19,000. Mali has 21,000 troops. Niger has 10,000 troops. Burkina Faso has 11,000. The Gambia has 4,000. Guinea-Bissau has 4,000. Guinea has 13,000. Sierra Leone has 9,000. Liberia, also has 2,000. Ghana has 16,000. Côte d'Ivoire has 134,000, armed forces. Togo has 10,000. Benin has 12,000. Nigeria has the largest armed forces in the sub-region, 223,000 armed forces. So followed by Côte d'Ivoire with 134,000, and followed by Senegal with 19,000, and then Ghana comes next with 16,000. So these are the troops that we do have in the sub-region. Now let's look at budget allocation in Ghana's budget as for contingency. So we're asking the question, is a contingency budget needed? If you look at the headquarters and agencies, the amount budgeted is 3.74 billion. Construction of forward operating base, Northern Border Security, is 262.1 million. Defense advisory services, they are allocated, or the budget amount is 10 million. Ammunitions and other accoutrements, 10.21 million. So that's how it is. So that's why the question is, do we need a contingency budget in this instance? So that's the breakdown of how the issues are for you here in terms of the intervention in Niger and what it will mean to Ghana and ECOWAS in general. Dr. Victor Doke. He is a researcher with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Doc, good morning to you. Grateful for joining us. Let's start to talk. The minority and majority are divided whether or not we should intervene or contribute troops to the action that ECOWAS wants to undertake in Niger. From research and what we do know, how must we as a country approach this? Should it be limited to minority on one side, majority on one side?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Good morning to you all and then listeners. Now, the important thing we need to notice that when it comes to, let me go back a bit now, when it comes to conflict resolution, they have what we call the track diplomacy. Track 1 involves emissaries he sent, very important personalities he sent. ECOWAS has done, it's been rejected. Track 2, involvement of civil society organizations. ECOWAS has not looked at that option. Now, track 3, which involves religious leaders, okay, in various fields, that has worked what we've noticed. The northern leaders, religious leaders from Nigeria haven't been able to meet a junta. That is where ECOWAS should now focus on and give diplomacy the opportunity to prevail. It will be wise on the part of ECOWAS as a whole to make prevention the focus than to go ahead with the military intervention. The consequences of the military intervention are vast. Now, let me come to Ghana itself. Do we have that funds to even go? No. The personnel may be there. But how are we going to tackle this issue going in? Well, first of all, the Parliament will have to agree. We have a divided or hung Parliament. Is it even going to work? I doubt. Right? Now, supposing we have the numbers, where are we going to get the funds? Looking at the economic situation that we are in now, is it prudent? For me, no. Why don't we just look at the means of using these religious leaders? Let's not forget, the junta appointed 21 ministers, okay, as an interim government. Why are we not looking at working with these? Okay, thereby we'll know the needs and wants of these junta. And then we can start from there. But to go ahead with the military intervention will bring out very vast consequences that we may not have solutions to. So for me, my take, the military intervention is a no-go option for ECOWAS as a whole, or even for Ghana to think about at this moment.
Okay. So you feel that we need to finish exploring track 1 and then track 2, which is involvement of CSOs. They have not involved the CSOs as we speak, right?
They haven't. I haven't heard anything. I stand to be corrected. If they have, let me know. They have not explored that option. So explore track 1, possibly track 2, and it's all shown track 3 is working perfectly. So why don't you then focus on track 3? The resources that you have, push it in track 3 and get more religious bodies and leaders to meet with the junta. And that is the way to go.
Now, ECOWAS over the years has been described as a barking dog. It barks, but it doesn't bite. And that's why maybe they want to use this as an example to say, look, we can't really bite, just that sometimes we extend our hand too long. Couldn't this be the reason ECOWAS wants to ensure that if we give you an ultimatum that hand over power and you didn't, we'll definitely have to come at you?
Well, let's look at Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso. What really did ECOWAS do? Impose sanctions and later on lift them. Left it. All these 3 mentioned states are surviving in one way or the other. Okay? They've terminated, contracts with their
okay.
So I'm not just saying that they want to move it because of the situation in Niger. Niger is dynamic. Okay, I looked at the chart you showed. The forces in Niger, that's 10,000. Okay, now, how many troops will commit? It has to be 4 times that number. They shouldn't forget that if they still want to go ahead with the military intervention, this is what is going to happen. The youth in the country civilly supporting the junta may be recruited and trained Have they factored in that? No. You have armed groups that are in the northern part of Nigeria who may like forces with the junta. Youth in the northern part of Nigeria who have alliance with Niger would also join in. The figure is so broad. For ECOWAS, for some of us, we think the talking has become too much. When issues like bad governance, injustice, corruption, right, are rampant, what does ECOWAS do? The mandate is to ensure peace and security. When we talk about security, you look at all these things. Bad governance and security are synonymous. If you don't tackle bad governance, then you have a threat when it comes to your security. Going for this, what ECOWAS needs to do, speak up more. When you have leaders who want to change constitutions, right, like we saw with Macky Sall, and later on back down, we need ECOWAS to be vocal. We need ECOWAS to preach out the rule of law, ensuring that the resources in individual states that are supposed to use for development are used and not diverted anywhere. Over the years, ECOWAS has been seen as a rhetoric. I'm sorry to say, but they cannot use Niger as an example. Most of us think Gambia was a different case, different scenario. The dynamics were so different, but this is a different ballgame altogether. You're dealing with hardcore military generals who have taken the stance and have implemented a coup, right? The best for them is to explore all options in track 1 diplomacy and then track 3 using the religious bodies of the community. That's the best way for them to do.
Well, if you look at the fundamental principles of ECOWAS itself, it says solidarity and collective self-reliance, interstate cooperation, harmonization of policies and integration programs. It says maintenance of regional peace, stability and security through the promotion and strengthening of good neighborliness. It also says peaceful settlement of dispute among member states, active cooperation between neighboring countries, and promotion of a peaceful environment as a prerequisite for economic development. So if ECOWAS feels threatened that this, it happened in Niger, it happened in Burkina Faso, it happened in Mali, it happened in Guinea, it's happening in Niger. If nothing is done about it, it may threaten our peaceful coexistence and in fact, threaten the development of the sub-region. Aren't they right to then say that if we give you an ultimatum to step down, you are not, we're going to bring in the military? Even though you're arguing that the youth will support the junta there, there'll be a lot of, we'll spend a lot more before we can really return the democratically elected government to power. Isn't it an option to take because of these underlying principles?
You're very right, okay? All these objectives were ECOWAS's mandate, okay? But then, what has gotten us this far is the inability of ECOWAS to be that responsible, hegemonic, sub-regional organization that we should know as playing its role or performing its mandate, responsibilities. But there's so many protocols that we have, okay? Some we've already mentioned, to ensuring good governance and all that. Now, the situation is that they should just notice or bear in mind that you cannot use Niger as an example because the others tried, it didn't work. We are saying that it's a whole different ballgame now. You tried the others, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Your approaches may have been ineffective. Okay? Now you send emissaries and all that. Who are those who are even going there? Do they even understand the dynamics of the country? Do they understand the dynamics of conflict resolution? And all of that? I doubt. Other than that, would have achieved a success. Here we are. Now, you have not explored the options that are put on the table yet. Then you want to go in, stating that we all agree if we don't put a lid on this, it may spiral. We would have, pundits have, scholars have predicted we will have 2 or more at the end of the year. ECOWAS is right to say, if you don't stop this, it will proceed and go on. But how do you ensure that the right approaches, preventive mechanisms are put in place? That is what they should be looking at now. Okay? Per their mandate, they are supposed to ensure peace and security, including the last resort, which is using the military. That is, we all understand that.
Okay.
However, there are options that you have not explored yet. That's what we are talking about.
Okay. All right. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us here on the show. Dr. Victor Doke is a researcher at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Well, I come to the studio. Honorable Cletus Seidu Dapla, MP for Jerapa, is here with me. Honorable. So, how should we progress as a nation from where we are? Because we cannot also turn our backs on ECOWAS, can we?
Well, good morning to you once again. Good morning to your cherished viewers. ECOWAS, since its inception, hasn't done very well in terms of how they exercise their powers. They have been, over the years, they have been so hypocritical in terms of decision taking. And that is the reason why many African countries do not have confidence in ECOWAS, particularly the leadership. You see, we cannot be selective in applying the rules. We can't be selective. Some of these coup d'etats have happened in other countries that ECOWAS could not take any firm decision, let alone to talk of sending a military troops or a standby military. So for me, it is the bane of the issue. If you want to be selective in application of rules, when it suits you, you say no, the rules should not apply. When it go against you, then you want the rules to be applied. That is the problem that we have in ECOWAS. So for me, I believe strongly that, yes, Nigeria, President Tinubu is the chairman of ECOWAS now.
Yeah.
Nigeria itself has not obeyed ECOWAS rules. What is that? ECOWAS has come out with decisions that Nigeria has flouted many times.
Really?
You remember, even when they closed their borders, ECOWAS met and called on them to open. They said they won't open. So that is how they are. So hypocritical. You understand? Some of the coup d'etats that has happened, they were justified by the same ECOWAS. ECOWAS justified some of those coup d'etats, like the Mali coup, the Burkina Faso one, and even the Guinea one.
ECOWAS justified.
Yeah, they justify it. What did they do?
ECOWAS, what did they do? They gave an instruction first. For example,
what did they do?
Did
they send?
And then,
did they do?
No.
Did they send military?
You remember that they gave sanctions, and then they overturned the sanctions. I'm sure because of the sort of negotiation that took place.
So that is what I'm saying. So in this case, in the case of Niger, okay, many people are of the opinion that do not send a military standby. Use diplomacy.
Okay.
Use negotiation.
Okay.
Don't go with a force. If you enter Niger, you are going to destroy the country.
Okay.
Like we've seen other countries being destroyed.
Okay, hold it there for me. Other countries being destroyed. Let me go on to the phone lines now and bring in Dr. Kwesi, Professor. I mean, this man he is solid on the security point, and grateful to have him here. Professor Kwesi Ening is joining us. Prof, good morning, and so grateful to you for joining us. Now, with the situation at hand, and it looks like we are at a standpoint, how do we progress from where we are?
Well, I think I heard your last contributor, espousing the positive side of negotiation. And I think I buy into that 100%. For several reasons. A standby force will take at least 30 to 60, probably even 90 days to couple them together. Secondly, we need about 90 days of food, fuel, medical stuff. And then the force ratio, the fact that if the Niger army has about 7,000 forces, we will need approximately about 21,000 forces to go in. Not only that, I mean, the fourth generation process under the mechanism itself, does not anticipate that a standby force will be used for such a situation. Actually, the standby force idea was for civil war. And that is why we have a civilian component of the standby force that should go in with the intervening force to try to restart civilian administration. So it seems to me as if there's a lot of misconceptions around the standby force idea. If you take the standby force idea once more, quite a number of countries offered to play critical roles. So apart from member states designating a number of troops to be trained and dedicated for the standby force, Sierra Leone, for example, was supposed to have the logistics base. And, I don't think what is presently in Sierra Leone can be called logistics. So the whole concept and the idea of intervention creates an impression that once more there is an automaticity in the decision making and the approaches to resolving this crisis. There are alternative means to resolving this crisis. If we look at the wider geostrategic placement of Niger and increasingly the solidification, unfortunately, of the regime. If we take, let me give you just one reason why it would not be easy to invade Niger. Almost about 1,500 kilometers of this gas pipeline that would end in Algeria and supply not only one country, but almost all European states. The army in Niger will not want an invading country or group just to come and take over. Okay, they will do something. And I think, as the previous speaker said, the unintended impact of this intervention on the people of Niger, northern Nigeria, and much further south. Already we are beginning to see the impact of the Niger crisis on food security. What is the impact on the Accra Initiative, in which Niger is supposed to be a very key player? So the wider ramifications of an intervention does not inure to the benefit of the sub-region. Particularly when the authorizing organization has consistently failed over time to apply the same yardstick. And I think for most citizens of West Africa and the larger global space, that is what bothers people. When do we apply the rules of a supranational organization, and when do we choose not to apply them? And I think these are questions about institutional credibility, about institutional effectiveness, and the capacity of multilateral institutions to deliver public goods for those who are members of this organization.
So Prof, it's not time for us to consider the military angle. We should continue using the dialogue mode to try and resolve this matter, right?
No, I mean, what is the resolution that we are looking? What is the end result? You see, because when you negotiate from poles apart, where in the initial situation it is a zero-sum game. Everyone is saying, this is my interest, I'm not going to give way A negotiation process is supposed to bring the parties to a position where they all feel that they have won, that they have got something out of the process. If the idea is just to reinstate constitutionalism, in which France and other external interests continue to treat Niger as if it is a vassal state, then it will not work. Because if you notice, the narrative from the military authorities has shifted from one of corruption and just making a coup to accusing the former president of high treason. And high treason changes the dynamic dramatically. So let's wait and read what the charges are. But we shouldn't take the military option off the table either, because in negotiations, the institution that seeks to head cut in the same direction, and I'm using the phraseology heading cut in a very specific context, must have the capacity also to back its words with action.
Okay.
The idea is that we will never get there, that the negotiations must be successful. But the threat of the use of credible force is always something that in negotiation processes is always hanging, in the background.
So as we understand, the military chiefs will be meeting in Ghana to decide. Now it's a stalemate between the minority and majority. Do you suggest that Ghana turns it back on ECOWAS, or if it becomes critical, we should then support with troops?
But the question is, I think there's a foreign affairs council or something. I mean, we have the appropriate council that should meet and segregate what Ghana's interests are. Why have we decided to keep quiet when things are going wrong in one context? And why do we want to put troops on the ground in this context? What are the intended, outcomes for Ghana? More importantly, what are the unintended outcomes? So we need to locate our national interest within the larger context of the ECOWAS tribe. When we are members of an international organization, it does not undermine our national interest. So that calculus must be done by those who are sitting at the center of the decision-making process.
All right. Prof, I'm grateful to you for spending some time with us this morning. Professor Kwesi Aning is Director of Academic Affairs at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Well, so there we have it. Yeah, you were making a point, and I stopped you.
Yes, I was still on ECOWAS, and the fact that they haven't conducted, ECOWAS hasn't conducted itself well over the years. Hence, the problems that has bedeviled the ECOWAS countries. So for me, the use of brute force to restore constitutional democracy in Niger is going to jeopardize that country. We're going to destroy that country. We won't, what do we intend to achieve at the end of it all? Because, mind you, these are military chiefs who have taken over the country. So they are prepared to fight, even if they will all die. They don't care if that country all will be destroyed. So we ought to use diplomacy, that is the word. We ought to engage. We ought to use all sort of, negotiation powers that is at our disposal.
But once at it, it's still important we keep the threat of military intervention.
Intervention. The moment you begin threatening, they won't budge.
Okay.
They won't budge. The threat will not deter them. These are soldiers also. They are soldiers. They are not civilians. You understand? So when you begin to issue threats, that will not solve the problem. So for me and many other thinking Ghanaians and those who are not even Ghanaians, we all think that, look, let us don't enter Niger with a military force. Let's use diplomacy. Let's negotiate. Let's engage them. So for instance, the religious leaders in Nigeria have started engaging them. You understand?
Yeah.
Even Ghana, instead of sending military troops, we could use our religious leaders. We have now religious leaders that people respect. They could also go in and do a bit of negotiation for us. What do we stand to achieve if we invade Niger? What do we want to achieve?
Restore the democratically elected government.
It is what they've done is what ECOWAS is also trying to do. You understand? It's just like...
well, you mean ECOWAS is trying to undertake a coup?
Yeah, that's what they are going to fight. They are going to fight. Remember when you send troops, they are not going to watch you come in and just do what you want to do. They will return, they will fight back. And the consequences are there. The repercussions are there. That country will be destroyed. You see, you use brute force when a coup takes place, okay? The only time you try to use brute force or standby force is when human rights of people have been abused, like Liberia, when we saw people's hands being cut on slaves and all of that. You understand? We are not yet there. We haven't gotten to that point. You understand? So if you want to come in and use that military stand, or use troops in Niger, you are going to destroy that beautiful country. Already, the people are struggling. There's economic hardship. Women and children are vulnerable. So what do we want to achieve? ECOWAS, what do we want to achieve? Whose interests are we going with these military troops? Whose interest? France?
No, it is the sub-region's
or the Western powers.
The sub-region's interest. The sub-region is to ensure that you ensure the peaceful coexistence.
I just saw that your
it doesn't degenerate.
You displayed the costs of money that is needed to send military troops to Niger. You understand? Do you know what that entails? Do we have that money? Who is going to commit that money?
Okay.
There's no money for it. Even Ghana. The reason why many people are saying that the minority is opposed to minority and majority are divided, and on the issue of maybe they are supposed to come to parliament or not to come to parliament for approval. You see, if you are sending troops, you need to fund them. Okay. And for you to spend, you need parliamentary approval to spend.
All right.
So that's the logic behind it.
So you mean that we shouldn't even think about it?
We shouldn't even think about it.
Okay.
We shouldn't think about it. Okay. It will not help the country. Okay. So I have heard many religious leaders, particularly I've seen the Presby Church. Yeah. The Presby Church is saying that don't send troops to Niger. Yeah. And they are not the only one. Many religious leaders in this country, they have all said that.
All right.
And if you were to run polls, as to whether Ghana should send military to Niger, I tell you that you have maybe 5% who will be in support of it. Over 90% think that, look, if we go in with military, we will destroy the country. Okay. And we've seen how Libya is destroyed. Okay. Beautiful country. So let me tell you, the fact that you want to...
So you wrap on this for me.
The fact that you want to protect or you want to restore the country back to democracy doesn't mean that when you send military troops, it will work that way. It's going to destroy that beautiful country, and we shouldn't entertain that.
Okay, all right. So that's that on Niger. Let's look at the conduct of public officials. Yesterday we had a discussion here, and it was about the enactment of a law, to then prescribe the sort of conduct that public officials, including yourself, would have to exhibit. We understand government is now seeking the support of the IMF to put up such a law. But we also know there was a law like that in 2013. The bill, it has not been passed into a law anyway. Why is Parliament not able to really pass that bill into a law to then guide how public officials like yourself, go about your daily activities?
Well, you see, my brother, Ghana itself, corruption is in our DNA. Corruption is in our DNA. We cherish corrupt leaders. People go into public offices, they amass wealth within the shortest time, and these are the people we hail. These are the people respect. People hold them in high esteem. They don't talk. And mind you, we are also in a country where people don't question people where they get their wealth from. It is one of the issues. So our laws, we are supposed to strengthen our laws so that people can explain how they acquire their wealth.
Sure. And that's your duty. That's
what I'm saying. It is my duty. I'm coming there. It's my duty. But I'm just talking generally to let all of us have a broader perspective of what is happening. Look, you see a 15-year-old boy driving a Range Rover. How he acquires it is not from his parents, it's not from any of his relatives, it's not a gift. He got money and he bought it. How did he get it? You see an 18. So it is just like that. We are in a free country where people just get money, wealth. How they get it, nobody questions them. That is the bane of our problem. Now, public officials are paid. They have service condition. I tell people that, look, if they appoint you a minister today, maybe you've gone to school, you are a graduate, the president catches your eye and appoints you a minister, you are given a Land Cruiser, you are given a bungalow, and all of that. So that one alone, your life will change. Your life will change as compared to somebody who is renting. You understand? So, irrespective of that, we ought, as public officials, know that, look, when you are privileged to be appointed a minister or a chief executive or be in public service, you ought to conduct yourself very well. It's not a license for you to be doing corrupt things to amass wealth at the expense of the state. All this boils down to the laws that you are talking about. The laws are not biting enough. We have laws, they don't bite. They don't bite. So many laws. We have so many independent state institutions. The police, CID, the CHRAJ, special prosecutor, and all of that. The AG department. We have so many agencies that are supposed to help fight corruption. But because the laws, implementation of these laws is so difficult because we are being selective with the implementation of the laws. So people go away with impunity. People amass wealth, unexplained wealth, yet they go away with it because my government, my party is in power, they cannot prosecute me. When the other government comes and want to also prosecute, then it is witch hunting. You understand? So the problem is about our laws. If the laws were working, like in other countries, if you take Kigali, for instance, you can't be corrupt in Kigali. You can't be corrupt in Kigali. You are scared. You are scared to do anything untoward, to make money that you cannot, money that is not due you. You understand? You cannot get it because the laws are deterrent enough. And people respect the laws. You can't bend the rules. You can't bend the rules. Here, people will tell you that the laws of this country, that is the perception, whether real or not. People will tell you that the laws of this country only affects the poor. It affects the poor. The rich gets away with it. They pay their way through. Whether real or not, that is the perception out there. You understand? So for me, the laws are the problem. Look, you are a public officer. You are guided by rules and regulations. Look, there is no independent state institution in this country, according to our constitution, because it's not your private business. It's not your private business. If you are a minister, you don't have a blanket check to do what you want to do.
Have you declared your assets?
Yes, I declared my assets. I declared my assets. But that asset declaration thing, my brother, I think we have to look at it again.
But that's what the 2013 bill was supposed to do. to check how you declare and even how those declarations are supposed to be handled.
My brother,
shouldn't we make a note to your constituents?
Why I'm saying that the Asset Declaration Act is bogus.
Why?
Many people acquire property in the name of their relatives. So many politicians and so many people who are not even politicians in this country, but who has, government links to do businesses. They acquire property in the name of other people. So if I declare that I have one house, yes, I know I declare that I have one house. When I get into office, the other houses I'm acquiring maybe in the name of my wife, in the name of my brother, in the name of my friend, in the name of... That is why I said that unexplained wealth, the law should be biting enough so that the wife of a minister, the minister's relative can be questioned how she acquired this property. If we don't have laws like that and we just say that, declare your asset. Yes, I have declared. I have 2 houses. Any other house I'm acquiring is in the name of my child. It's in the name of... So you come to audit me at the end of my office. If you were to come to audit me, then you notice that probably I still have the 2 houses.
Okay.
But I have property. Such a person will have a lot of property being whole in the names of people.
So you want the law to be more...
Yeah, so I'm saying that we need to sit on the table and get laws that people can explain. Look, for instance, the Nigeria Anti-Corruption Agency, they came to Parliament and give us a briefing of how they are fighting corruption in Nigeria. Then the man told us that there's one professor who is in charge of that thing. He told us that there was a politician, a teacher. A teacher had over $100 million in his account. A teacher. How can you justify that? He's not doing any business. So they frozen the account and asked the teacher to explain how he got that money. Is it your salary? What business have you done to have $100 million in your account? Over 100 million. So the money was traced to a politician.
Okay.
So this is how the law should be working. But if you just have laws governing public officials, their conduct alone, I tell you, it will still not work. They will put the monies in the hands of their relatives that they can be fetching and doing what they want to do.
Okay.
They will evade it. So let's think through, how do we ask people to account for their wealth?
Okay. All right.
Just not public officials.
Okay.
Just not public. I can make money as a politician and give to a private person to keep holding. Person can hold in trust for me.
But that should be a different law. You have not passed the law to regulate your activities. How are you then?
What I'm saying is that I'm even just telling you that that law itself will still not bite. It will still, if there is a law governing me,
unless it includes the private.
Yes.
Okay.
If there is a law governing me as a public official, as to how I acquire wealth. So I do all sort of deals to acquire wealth. Then I give to my brother or a relative or a friend to hold in trust for me. How will you be able to know that I've stolen money?
So
or I have this amount
should be more involving.
It should be more involved. It shouldn't just be about public officials.
So move that. Move that in Parliament.
Yes, we are discussing it. We'll get there. Until we get there, the fight against corruption, the conduct of public officials, we can't achieve anything out of it.
All right. Now let me take you to something that is of interest to a lot of young people and all of us. GRA lottery taxation takes effect. Now it says the Ghana Revenue Authority has commenced the implementation of the application of the tax laws of lottery operators across the country. Effective yesterday, all lottery operators commenced withholding 10% of winnings and paying as taxes to the Ghana Revenue Authority. The lottery operators, including private lotto operators, sports betting operators, casino operators, route operators, remote interactive games and other games off-chance operators, are also expected to pay a 20% tax on their gross gaming revenue. we need money to run the economy, and we're raising revenue, isn't it?
Yes. First and foremost, you see, we are very hypocritical in this country. We have many religious bodies that has come out to condemn betting, lottery, and all of that. Yet, government thinks that it is an avenue to make money, and I condemn that in toto.
But why do we have? If we have the gaming authority, and the responsibility is to regulate these things.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You see, that's the hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy of our nation. Look, you don't support betting. You said it's a sin to do betting.
The state has not said so.
That's what I'm saying.
Some religious bodies are saying so.
That's what I'm saying. It is who are the state? There is no state without human beings.
Yeah, I understand.
The human beings makes the state. It's because of the human beings that we have Ghana. Okay, so I'm saying that if we think that this is unreligious, this is something that shouldn't be practiced by our young people, why do we go to tax it? It means we have legitimized it. We made it legitimate, isn't it?
But we've done it. We did that long ago when we brought the gaming regulatory.
What I'm saying is that you cannot say that something is a sin, and yet you want to take money from it.
I understand your argument.
You understand?
What I'm saying is that now we passed that argument when we brought the gaming law.
So now that we brought the gaming law, look, the youth of today, honestly, if you ask them, it is not their making that they are into this betting. They must survive.
Okay.
We haven't been able to give them good jobs. If you go to the the betting centers, and you see the caliber of people who are into it, these are graduates, some have masters, they've completed school, they've come out 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, he's sitting down, he sent applications to many places, he cannot get a job, so he thinks that, why? Let me also get involved in this so that I can survive. So it is not something that we should want to tax as much as 10%. We shouldn't do that. So the youth of this country, I can assure them that the NDC party is saying that the next NDC government will scrap it. We're going to scrap the 10% tax on this betting and lottery. How? Somebody has won his bet.
But you're not going to abolish it. Huh? You're not going to, do away with gaming at all.
No, no, that aspect of it, we are going to cancel it. We will abolish this tax.
Okay.
It's not, we think that the youth must survive. If the government of the day cannot provide them jobs and they find themselves into this betting, sporting to survive, and it's not at this crucial moment that you should be imposing such taxes on them. In any case, when they collect the taxes, how are those taxes beneficiary to the youth when they have no jobs? When they have no jobs. So that is why we are saying that the next NDC government, we are going to scrap the 10% tax on this betting and lottery. We'll scrap it.
So it means that you're even going above the argument that if we don't agree in it, we shouldn't allow it, right?
Yes.
Then I'm saying that once you are saying that you're going to remove this tax, but you're still going to keep the betting running, aren't you?
What I'm saying is that it is something that, because people have no option, that's why they are into it.
So you cannot abolish it?
No, we can't abolish it. We won't abolish it.
Okay.
But we will not tax it
at
10%. We will not. We will not. We will not. We want to find something dignifying, dignified jobs for our youth. So if the government of the day cannot do that and they find themselves into this job so just to survive, we cannot come to say that we will tax it at 10%. 10%, that is on the higher side.
This show is being recorded. One day when you come into government.
Oh, I'm telling you, if you go around, read through the social media, you will see the position of the NDC. The National Youth Organizer has issued a statement.
Yeah.
His deputies and all those people.
The statement says, in the face of the unjust 10% taxation on bet wins, we, the young people of Ghana and the NDC youth, declare a resolute series of actions to resist this burdensome and insensitive policy. Our unity is unwavering, and our determination to protect the funds young people secure through betting is unyielding. Through agitations, protest, advocacy, and civic engagement, we will ensure our voices are heard and demand that this corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia government rescind its decision. Young people shall not be burdened to compensate for the following, and they list a number of...
Yeah, that is the position of the NDC Youth Wing. And I know when we get power, it will be implemented. And even now, we are calling on the government of the day to take it off. Otherwise, they will be, we are going to do series of demonstrations to express our displeasure about this tax that is being imposed on our young people who, through, no fault of theirs, find themselves into these things. If you go around, interview them, take your cameras around and interview them, they will tell you the frustration. Look, he's in the house for 5 years. He has nowhere to go. You get up after national service, you stayed in the house for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. You wake up, you have nowhere to go. Why don't I go to a bed center and sit there? Maybe a friend can win and even give me talking, that kind of thing. So that is the problem that we have in this country.
But isn't it hypocritical that you had the chance to stop this law in Parliament? You didn't. You allowed it to go through.
We didn't because,
and now you are trying to whip up
we didn't because we don't have the numbers to stop it.
You don't have the numbers?
You don't have the numbers to stop it.
It is what is 170, 170?
137, 137.
Yeah.
They have independent. They always use it to score us.
If we go for the vote, we realize that it wasn't 137, 137. And the independent was the one who won. We realize that a lot of you were not, couldn't vote.
Well, that was not what happened.
What happened?
It was a matter of a question being put. We actually didn't vote on it.
Oh, it was a voice vote.
It was a voice vote, and they carried it.
Okay.
They carried it.
But if you really meant to defend the young people of this country, you would have made
That's what
sure
I'm
that
saying.
we
knew if we had gone in to challenge the voice vote and call for a head count, we would lose because their numbers, they were all there. So we did the analysis and said, let's leave it to go. But the next NDC government will have majority. We'll take it off.
Are you sure if we check the rules, I mean, how do you call it, attendance of the day, or say the voting pattern, would realize that all the MPP had its numbers there, and the NDC also had its numbers there? Is that what we will see? Or we'll see that some of you were not in the house? And
what I'm saying is that that is not usually the case.
Okay.
When our leadership, when they want to call for a head count, okay, or when they want to challenge the voice vote, they will look at our side. Do we have the numbers? And look at our opponent's side. If they think that, look, for instance, let me give you an example. The revenue bills that were passed, the 3 revenue bills that were passed, the last section. Our flag bearer was in the Upper East region. And many of the Upper East MPs, about 13 of them, were with him. And that was the day they were to vote, were to take those bills. So if you are to vote, we won't win. We will not win.
But if you knew you had such critical bills and such important decisions to make, why follow the flag bearer when the flag bearer has the party executives with him? Because your duty in Parliament is also something that you help the party with.
It is. But I'm just giving you an example.
I get
it's just an example.
It's an example I'm also questioning.
I'm saying that. Look, the fact of the matter is that the MPP are more than us. The 137, that is true. But they always use the independent to score the winning goal. Okay. You can't deny that. Everybody should know that. We don't have the numbers. So when we vote and we lose, sometimes people should not come at us as if we have the majority. There are instances that some of our people vote in support of them, particularly the ministerial approval and all of that. That was the only time that those things happened. But that one, if you are to go into it, you will get to realize the what is that? How do we call it? Let me say that you will realize that people were looking at, well, this person is coming from my region. This is my tribe person. This is my niece. This is my cousin. This is my that. So that one is so difficult It's so difficult for you to whip people. If you have your brother who is in MPP and you are NDC, and they bring that your brother to plenary for you to vote as to
be a minister or not.
To be a minister or not. Will you go and vote against your brother, your biological brother, or your cousin? Will you go and vote against him so that the ministerial appointment will go to a different family? These are the things that I want people to always think when we are calling for such votes. There are so many people who are related. They are relatives in parliament, both sides. Both sides. So for me,
are you taking the decision for yourself or for your constituents?
That is what I'm saying. You are supposed to take the decision for your constituents and your party. But individuals as we are, I've just put a question. You know Abu Jinapo. You know John Jinapo. Assuming they had brought Abu Jinapo to plenary and asked the Honorable John Jinapo to go and, because of his party position, go and vote against his younger brother, he will do that. It's food for thought.
Okay.
He will do that so that that ministerial appointment will go to a different family. No. So then what will his brother have been doing in the MPP? So his brother doesn't deserve to be a minister. It's somebody else's family. It's just an example I'm giving.
Okay.
So when these things happen, then people don't do in-depth analysis of it.
Okay. All right.
There are so many people who are related. Sometimes you don't even know. It's after some of these votes that you will hear, oh, this person, that's his cousin. Oh.
Okay.
This person, that's his niece. Oh. This person, that is, then you are like, wow. Then that's why these votes went this way.
So family and friends relations in parliament, influencing votes.
Yeah, it will always happen.
Okay.
It will always happen.
All right. So that's Honorable Cletus Seydou Dapila. He's MP for Jerapa. Thanks so much for passing through the show.
Thank you, my brother.
Enjoy your day. So this is still the AM show here on the Joy News channel. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we have lots more to share with you here on the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So welcome back from the break. Unite and Transform Ghana and the School of Research and Graduate Studies at GIMPA are hosting an ethical leadership series. This year's event is themed Importance of Ethical Leadership in National Development. Mr. Daniel Yao Domelevo, former Auditor General, will speak at this event. So for us to have a brief of it, okay, and there you have the flyer on it, okay, so I can see former Minister of, Deputy Minister of Agric, Abraham there. Abraham Juma Odum, he's the man who led Nigeria's bumper rice harvest last year. He is part, C. Nana Debbie, PhD, Professor of Sociology, Virginia State University, USA, is also part, and it will be moderated by Benjamin Akakwo. Okay, so Ben, I now know where you're going. All right, let's see. In with me in studio is Augustine Ajiman-Dia. He's co-founder and president, African Professionals Network in Switzerland. Hi, and he's also advisory board member of Unite and Transform Ghana. Good morning.
Good morning.
I trust you're well.
Very well.
Good. I also have Professor Wisdom Akbalu, chairman of Unite and Transform Ghana, and Dean, School of Research and Graduate Studies, GIMPA. Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Now, first of all, let's start from the group, Unite and Transform Ghana. What was the rationale behind the group itself? Who will do it for me, Prof? Or let me start with you, Augustine.
Thank you very much. So, Unite and Transform Ghana is a non-governmental organization and also a group of Ghanaians who have come together to promote ethical leadership and good governance for social and economic development.
Good governance, huh?
Yes, good governance and ethical leadership. Okay. And we have 3 or 4 main objectives, and I will talk about some of these objectives. The first one is to advocate and create awareness of ethical leadership. And somebody will ask, how are we doing that first objective? It's basically through our social media platforms where we are creating awareness, we are orienting the people about how important ethical leadership is. We've also, by identifying ethical leaders and interviewing them to learn from their journey and how they have been able to be successful in their respective work. And one of the events or one of the areas that we're looking into also is through conference. Okay. And one of the conferences is what we're going to discuss today, which is the Ethical Leadership Series. And so that is the first objective in terms of advocating and creating awareness of ethical leadership. The second objective I would like to talk about is about developing and empowering ethical leaders. And here we are doing that through training and workshops, and of course also trying to partner with some of the universities as we are doing with GIMPA, and we aim to create clubs, university clubs, where we inculcate at that stage ethical leadership in our students. And also we would be creating what we've termed the Ethical Leadership Awards. I always say that many Ghanaians are good people. Many Ghanaians are ethical. And I say that they are the silent majority. And we have so many of them working at various areas, even some of them selling on the streets, some of the contractors, some of them working in government, some of them working in their private organizations that are demonstrating ethical leadership. We are going to institute an Ethical Leadership Awards where we are going to identify these people, honor them, and also be able to let many and all Ghanaians know that we have ethical leaders in this country. As part of the Develop and Empower Ethical Leaders, one of the things that we're also aiming to do is to support ethical leaders in government and also in private companies. We know that sometimes people, when you are trying to do the good thing, you may feel lonely. We want them to believe and know that we have a group of ethical leaders that will be there to support them when they feel lonely. Okay. And as part of the second objective, we also have what we term the Youth Leadership or the Youth Development Program. Okay. And here we are going to identify young leaders and mentor them. We are going to pair them to ethical leaders so that they can learn ethical leadership, they can learn the values from these young leaders. And if you permit
what are the characteristics of an ethical leader? So such that when I see one, I can see that, well, this person is ethical.
So an ethical leader, I really like the question that you've highlighted, and if you permit me, I would quote what the former president of Liberia, Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, what he said to her, what she sees as an ethical leader. And she said that ethical leaders are guided by integrity, honesty, and a deep sense of responsibility to those they lead. So if you ask me about who is an ethical leader, I'm looking at anybody, whether you are, whatever position you are, everybody is a leader. Even in our families, we may be leaders in our own small families. We need to lead by integrity. With integrity, we need to be honest, and we need to have a strong sense of responsibility to the people that has been entrusted onto us. And I would maybe also go to the third objective that I want to touch on, and that one is about generating and sharing insights about ethical leadership. And we doing this through articles about ethical leadership, partnering with universities to do research on ethical leadership as it relates to our country, because all these things need to be put in context, and we'll be working with various institutions to be able to get this done. So these are the three main objectives of the group, and to be precise, a brief about Unite and Transform.
Is it open to anybody?
Yes, absolutely. So it's very open. If you share our values, if you believe in justice, if you believe in respect, if you believe in building your community, if you really have gotten to a point where you have realized that things are not going well with us, that we need people with ethical principles and moral values, you can join us.
Okay.
Yes.
How do I join?
Well, you can just approach any of us, write to us that you share the values and you want to be a part of us, and we'll be very happy to have you.
Okay.
Yes.
But the topic under discussion today is an excellent one.
Yes.
Why did you decide on that? Give us a brief on why the topic.
The importance of ethical leadership in national development. Well, I think we have all come to the realization that things have not been going well for us, economically, socially. We haven't been scoring very well. And we haven't been doing very well because we have institutions that are not delivering the public goods. Our institutions are generally weak. And if you have weak institutions, research has shown that you cannot function well as a country. So, and why do we have these weak institutions? We have weak institutions because we don't have leaders that have ethical principles. We don't have leaders that have moral values that are strong enough to withstand some of these challenges of corruption, etc.
Okay.
So there is a need for us to now begin debating or discussing these issues. I think a lot of people share this frustration, but we have not quite created a platform where these issues have been openly discussed dispassionately with people that have lived it, people who have lived their life being ethically, principled and, share some values like Domelavo and others. So this is an opportunity for them to share their experiences, tell us about challenges that one faces when one is trying to be ethically upright or morally upright. And then, prescribe some ways forward. Tell us how things could be done, even given all these challenges, how things could be done and done properly. So I think there is a need for us to do this. We have come to a point where we have to turn the corner.
And what a way, what a time it has come, because at a time when a lot of African countries are going through these challenges of takeovers because the people don't believe in the quality of leadership or governance that the leaders are giving them. So I think that this will prick the conscience of all of us that it is time we offer a certain kind of leadership to the people. Why the speakers? What informed the decision to go for them? Maybe okay, Prof started.
Okay, so I think this is the beginning of several series that we will have. And of course, we are trying to start with those that people already know, that have already demonstrated these things. So, we all know the panel, except maybe one person, Professor Nana Debbie, who is also very renowned in her own way, who has done a lot of work on ethics and leadership and all that. So I think this panel is selected based on their experiences and the scores or things they've already done in society that has demonstrated clearly that they have something to share to us. But I also want to assure you that moving forward, depending on the topics we choose, we will also get equally good speakers like that, very knowledgeable speakers like that to speak to this issue. So this is not to say that after this one, the others are not going to be as good at this. In fact, this one and all the others we are going to have will be really something that everyone has to listen to.
Okay.
They have a lot to share, and I will not miss it. So you don't have to miss it.
Augustine, if I'm coming there tonight for such an important topic, what should I expect?
So you should expect to learn about ethical leadership and the importance, as Prof highlighted earlier, about ethical leadership in building strong social cohesion and also in the economic and social development of our country. We'll be discussing three main topics. So the first one is about ethical leadership and good governance. And here we'll be highlighting how ethical leadership enhances transparency, accountability, and efficiency in private and public institutions. And also, we'd also be discussing the role of ethical leaders in combating corruption and promoting culture of integrity. The second topic that we'll be discussing is around the challenges and barriers so far as ethical leadership is concerned. And we would have, that's why we have the panel. And as you can see, we have panel that cuts across. We have those in the private sector. We have those who have served in government before. We have those who are doing their own businesses. And all of them will share their experiences in terms of how, when they exhibited ethical leadership, what they faced and how they were able to overcome that. And of course, we also have an opportunity where they will share best stories or success stories in terms of how can we be ethical leaders. And when there are challenges, what can we do to be able to overcome that?
Okay, interesting. Will there be a moment for all of us to then join a round table discussions, maybe contributions from even the participants? Will there be a time like that?
Yes.
So after the speakers have spoken, will I also get a time to either ask questions or make input into that?
Absolutely. So after the presentation, I mean, this is a panel discussion, so there will be moments where questions could be asked after they've done their presentations, and then they will have the opportunity to address them. And I encourage people to ask questions during the process.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm told that the event is tomorrow?
Yes, it is tomorrow.
Coming up tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Ben Akapo, good morning to you. Once I know where you will be tomorrow, me and you will have a date. Yeah, okay. Nowadays, because of time, we might not all be able to make our way to the venue. Is there a way, as we speak, there's a conference happening. Not everybody is going there, but people would love to have means by joining, even if we're not going to be there. Is there a way you've created so that if I won't be there in person, I can still join the conference?
Absolutely. So this is going to be a virtual event. Okay. We definitely will plan in-person event in the coming months, but this particular event will be virtual. Okay. And anybody can access this through our social media handlers, our handles. So it will be live on Facebook, live on Instagram, live on Twitter, and also on YouTube. And the flyers that we've also shared around has the details of the Zoom code or the Zoom code that we are going to use. And if they go to the Unite and Transform Ghana website, the details are also there, and everybody should join to listen, because it's going to be amazing, where people will learn from those ethical for those people who have demonstrated ethical leadership in their lives.
Is it easy to be ethical in a leadership position?
Well, it is not easy, and I've always given this example. If you look at the democracy we practice, for example, I have a view that the process that delivers political leadership in this country and many other countries is inherently corrupt. How do you become a politician? How do you win votes? You have to invest. And where do you get the money to invest? From people who have vested interest. So when they give you the money to invest in your campaign and you win, and you get to office, you have to pay back. Yeah. How do you pay back? You pay back by engaging in unethical practices. Okay. You make sure you bend the rules. You make the institutions weak so they won't take you to court, or if you go to court, they will not win against you if you do something wrong. If you bend the corners or you cut through some whatever to be able to generate funds to pay all these people that give you money during your campaign, or you grant them access to your resources. So before coming to the office, you're already corrupt. And when you come to the office, it's very difficult for you to change course because corruption brought you to office. So it is not easy to be ethical. It is not easy to be ethical. And in most cases, the cleaner you are, the more difficult it is for you to even have access to power. Okay. Because we have a process where people who get you to office have their own expectations, because they've been deceived several times by people who get to office. So they know when you get there, you may not be able to help them. So they want something now before you get there. So they ask you for money, they ask you for all things. And to do that, you need to go, asking for money from people with vested interests. So once you get to the office, you begin to behave unethically. So how do we get around this? It's a very difficult, question to answer.
Okay.
But then we have had people who have demonstrated that when
it can be done,
it can be done. It can be, especially those who get put in offices where they didn't have to go through these processes of bribing people to get there. They stand on their feet and say, well, let the right thing be done. And then if I may add, I have this phenomenon that I call the dome phenomenon. We are living in a dome. Imagine a situation where we are all living in a big dome, and surrounding us is a very, very chaotic, very dangerous environment. But then in that dome, people say, well, let me just pick bits and pieces of the stones of the dome and build a private house for myself so I can have more comfort than others within the dome.
Okay.
Eventually, the dome will collapse. When it collapses, we all perish. So when you behave unethically, generating rents or benefit to your private self at the detriment of others, eventually the system will collapse. And when it collapses, whatever you kept for yourself, you can't keep it.
Can't keep it.
So it's a moral obligation, and it is in your own interest to make sure that everybody has at least the basics, so that whatever you kept will be safe. Otherwise, you can't keep whatever you are saving for yourself and your children when the entire system is not working.
All right.
So we need ethical leaders.
Augustine, you live in Switzerland, right?
Yes.
How do leaders behave in that part of the world?
I think for them it's more about the interest of the country first, beyond their own personal interest. And I would like to also highlight that even in Switzerland, the president or even the ministers, they all join in the public transport and everything. Why? Because they have been able to create an environment where everybody can have the basic that they need. And so if everybody get the basic that they need, they may not go the extent of maybe robbing or stealing from many people. And I would say that for them, it's all about their national interests. Every discussion that they are having, any deal that they are going into, they first ask themselves, what will be the national, or what is their national interest? And that's why you see a small country like Switzerland, but they are so influential and very prosperous because of that mentality.
Okay. They've developed a system that they feel that even if they join, it's not a reduction in status, right? So even if they join a public transport, they have not reduced that status. It's okay because they've developed it. And that's what is lacking in this part of the country, in this part of the world, Ghana, where even when we are sick, we have to travel outside to go and benefit from the health facilities out there. Anyway, before you take a leave of me, your last words, Augustine, let me start with you and I come to Prof.
So what I would say is that ethical leadership, we need to know that it's not only those in government or those in authority. All of us are leaders in our own rights, in our own respect. Wherever you find yourself, you need to ask yourself, what are you doing to exhibit the values of integrity, honesty, to be able to benefit the people that you are working with. So whether you are a mason, whether you are a trader, whether you are, wherever you find yourself, let's all come together and exhibit ethical leadership through integrity and honesty. And we also want to, through Unite and Transform Ghana, to be able to steer a national discussion on ethical leadership. We believe that that would really help us to be prosperous, and we can do that to be prosperous.
Okay, all right. Professor Akpalu.
Thank you very much. So I think that no nation can develop without high quality institutions. And we cannot possibly build institutions without ethical leaders. So ethical leadership is the prerequisite for good institutions. That has been studied. There is, the evidence is conclusive that good institutions are what you need to deliver social economic development. So ethical leadership is extremely important. And as a chair of this United Transform Ghana, I invite all those that share these values to join us, because it is only by coming together, sharing this knowledge, and discussing and trying to inculcate this in our children and ourselves that we can begin to take the first step in building our institutions and delivering the public good for our people. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Professor Wisdom Akbalu is Dean of the School of Graduate Studies, and at GIMPA, he is the chairman of Unite and Transform Ghana. And then Augustine Ajimandua is co-founder, president, Africa Professionals Network, Switzerland, and also an advisory board member of Unite and Transform Ghana. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming through.
Thank you.
All right, now, also on the show, would tell you about Transvar, a financial technological company which, with interest across remittance, digital banking, and payment infrastructure. This is driven by the need to financially include all of our friends in the diaspora. Now, we'll come back and have that discussion shortly, but let's say a belated birthday to Aikwe Otu. Yesterday was your birthday. He is Ghana's former ambassador to Canada, and he is a former attorney general as well. Happy blessed new age to you, sir. And also on this special day, we wish you love, peace, joy, and good health. May your heart desires be met speedily. Happy birthday, Mr. Daniel Agodome. It's from all of us at Bethel Revival Choir, and this is coming from Jessica Ahedo, a member of the Bethel Revival Choir. So we'll take a break. We'll be back to have that discussion on Transvar. Do not go away. Stay with us. So welcome back to the AM show. Now we're going to talk about money matters, not really money matters, but maybe the platforms of getting it done. Now, as a fixture of the modern economy and global finance and banking, money transfers have become popular for the convenience and safety they offer. Money transfer basically refers to the electronic transfer of money initiated by one person to the other. So, I mean, Accra, I have to send money to my grandmother in Agunankwanta, and then I do papa through a system. It goes. It can also be, with the facilitation of services like Unified Payment Interface, that's UPI, online banking, etc. The old school methods of physically transferring money from one person's bank account to the others through checks, cash deposit at banks, etc., have been completely eliminated. So we're here to have this discussion with Transvar, and Transvar is a financial technological company with interest across remittance, digital banking and payment infrastructure, driven by the need to financially connect the global diaspora to the rest of the world. And they are going to be launching in Ghana tomorrow. Freedom Bank account. That's the product they are launching in Ghana. A revolutionary digital banking platform. And I have here with me the CEO and CFO of the company. So CEO is Ryan Romeo. Ryan, good morning. I hope you're well.
Very well, thank you.
Okay. Do you speak Igbo or you speak the other one?
I speak very good English. Very good English.
Okay. And then Dr. Olusiji Sanya is a CFO. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thanks for having us. Very well, thank you.
Okay, and so they are from Transvar Group Limited in the United Kingdom. All right, now let's start it off like this. We've heard about many of these systems. What is this Freedom Bank account from Transvar?
Yeah. So the Freedom Bank account, it's an opportunity to provide global access to a global banking infrastructure to people who traditionally would otherwise not have this access.
Okay.
So for example, you could be a Ghanaian here without residency in the UK, will have full access to a fully fledged UK account, fully insured deposits, be able to shop internationally, online. There are many use cases, those who school abroad, those who travel. And what we're basically saying is the Africans can have full access to the global systems without being physically outside Africa. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Is it meant for a specific group of persons, or anybody can get on board?
The Freedom Bank account is for everybody. You know, the philosophy and the spirit behind it is, you know, liberation financially. We believe that access to, you know, to be able to bank like a global citizen is a fundamental right. Right. So the concept of freedom is to make sure that everybody can have access to it, irrespective of nationality or physical location. We believe that your physical jurisdiction or location or your nationality should not restrict you from having access to global banking infrastructure. That's why Freedom Bank account allows you, as Ryan said, to have a UK bank account, set up standing orders, direct debits, have access to BACS, CHAPS, other international payment infrastructure like SWIFT. From the account, you can send money to over 90 countries. So that's the spirit and ethos of freedom.
Oh, so if I open the Freedom Bank account and I'm in Ghana, can I deposit cedis into it, or it's meant for a brother or a relative of mine in UK to then deposit money into it for me?
No, so you can't deposit cedis into it. Of course, it's supposed to be a multi-currency account, mainly denominated in GBP. There's going to be a USD and Euro leg added shortly. But of course, what you can do is once you have a balance in the account, Ghana is one of the 90 countries you can then send money to. So that's the way it works.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So now if I have a friend in UK,
yes,
all I need to do is to give him or her my account,
correct.
And then he puts money in it,
Yes.
and I can withdraw in Ghana.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Via what means?
So if you have, say you have £500 in your Freedom Bank account, and you're in Ghana, you want your money back, you use the international payment feature, and it pays money into your Ghanaian bank account.
Okay.
So that's easy. Yeah, and of course you also have your virtual card, which you can use to do online purchases anywhere in the world as well.
But it doesn't come with Visa.
So the virtual card, it will be both sort of Visa and MasterCard based, so you can do international transactions online as you please. In some cases, when you land in the UK, you might be able to ask for a physical card as well to use whilst you're on the ground.
How easily accessible is your product?
Very easy. So you can subscribe via your mobile, Apple, iOS, or Android, Google Play. You can also subscribe online. That's at transfer.com. And follow the instructions. We have a very stringent KYC process, so safety and security is very important globally. But this can be done and accessed from anywhere in the world. So it's very straightforward, and in this digital world that we live in, accessibility is very key. So we try to promote that in everything we do.
Yeah, it sounds exciting, really. Can you give us a demonstration of how this works?
We can just talk through it, yeah, sure. So, I mean, you download the app, it will ask you for your name.
Yeah.
It'll ask for your name, your address, sort of your location. It will then obviously ask you for, so where you're situated will determine sort of the various accessibility you have initially. So from a Ghanaian perspective, it will then ask you what sort of subscription you want. So we have various subscriptions. We have a sort of free model. And then we also have an annual subscription, which gives you sort of more incentives. It gives you incentive points to benefit from our virtual card system, which gives you discounts globally when you shop online, etc. And then once you've done this, you can then basically set up your account. You can set up your virtual card once that's launched. And then you'll also be able to use our SWIFT process, etc., to move money internationally. So that is from GBP to USD to euros to a host of other sort of main currencies as well, including back to Ghana whenever you need it. So
okay. But once it has to do with the internet, we all know how sometimes unsecure it could become.
Right.
How safe is this platform?
So I'll just talk about safety on two fronts. So someone might be wondering, okay, how safe are my funds in the accounts? So first of all, it's a UK-based account. It's regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK. and obviously it's linked into the wider UK financial system. And that comes with FSCS guarantee, so there's Financial Services Compensation Scheme, and that protects deposits you have in your UK bank account up to £80,000. So that's the first level of protection for the customer. Now, in terms of platform safety and security, we operate to sort of very best standards. We have our systems checked and tested regularly. We also have a dedicated security team that makes sure the platform is safe at all times and nothing sort of nefarious is going on. So I guess what I'm saying in short is we invest a lot in platform security.
So if I'm going to be on it, I shouldn't be afraid of anybody. Do you call it phishing or something? Sometimes it happens that people take people's data and all of that and joke with it.
So if you're on the platform, I wouldn't have those concerns about the platform. I mean, the platform has been running for a while, and to date, I don't think we've had any of such issues.
Okay.
Yes.
Why Ghana?
Yeah. It's a very good question. So Ghana, especially on the African continent, is a sort of beacon of stability, has a history of stability, and also looking forward projections, the way the country is set up, it's very inviting to those who are guests and visitors. And we feel that the fintech sort of space and the network here is growing aggressively. We think it's a perfect opportunity for FDI, for entities like ourselves to come in and also to work with and partner with existing institutions and find ways that we can sort of express ourselves on the global stage. So I think it's the perfect place to set up, and I think it's sort of symbolic in that sense.
So I'm sure someone is watching, is getting interested and is asking, do they have a bank, like a fiscal bank somewhere or something? Is that how it works, or this is just digital?
Yeah, so this is a strictly electronic digital bank. There are sort of many advantages for this. We feel even in the UK, where we are actually situated, the way the space is progressing is heading towards this sort of
fiscal bank.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And even though it is it seems intangible, it's actually very formidable and very tangible in the sense that there's a lot of investment going into this space. And we also offers the user more flexibility in the way things can be done, time efficiency, and we also offer sort of 24/7 customer service. So the customer always feels that they are in touch with the institution. And so we feel it's the way to go, and we feel that it's the way for a progressive company like ourselves and country like Ghana to sort of head into as well.
Okay. So run me again on through this. Say I have it and I want to deposit money now from Ghana. How do I do it?
So if you want to deposit money now from Ghana, then obviously you'd have to go through the existing local banking framework, and obviously you can wire funds into it, or you can ask a third party, a friend who's sort of in the UK, to make payments into it.
Okay.
So obviously those are the currently available channels for you to fund the account. Of course, once you have the account funded, then you have the flexibility to do a variety of things within the UK and of course internationally as well.
What makes the Freedom Bank account special?
I think the spirit of the Freedom Bank account is the uniqueness of the account. The fact that it's open to all, the fact that the account believes that you shouldn't be restricted by your nationality or where you live, the total actual freedom and expression for you to operate a global bank account, bank like a global citizen, operate at the cutting edge of financial technology, and the service level that you can get in any bank anywhere in the world. I think that's the uniqueness of it, because banking should not be a luxury item. It shouldn't be a special item for a few select people. I feel that banking, and especially good quality digital banking, is a fundamental human right as far as we're concerned at Transfer, that everybody should get access to.
Okay. What's your expectation of the launch tomorrow?
Well, my expectation is that obviously there are going to be a lot of sort of local participants there. Participation, partnerships, that's the focus of the launch. Obviously, we're there to launch our product, but we're also there to equally learn as much as we can as to how things are done currently, how we can build upon that, and work to improve things for the betterment of Ghanaians and Africans as a whole. One of the unique points that you mentioned, you asked my colleague Olu, is that we believe in opportunity. We believe that the opportunity is not currently given to Africans to have this access that we want to give. And those that do, is usually based on sort of wealth limitations, or maybe sort of being a corporate entity itself. We are saying that the reason why it's called freedom, that we're trying to liberalize it to all individuals. We're trying to reduce it, as we said, as a freemium model. And that's what we stand for. Our expectation is that hopefully things go well, we progress well, and we're here to visit over many years and to continue to progress the space as much as we can.
Very, very interesting, solution the guys are providing. I'm already motivated to really join them, and I'm sure that you have also been motivated to be part, especially so when this is driven by Africans. So this is like an African solution by an African, It's something that you need to jump on. Where is this launch happening tomorrow? What time?
It's happening at the British High Commission at 11 a.m.
11 a.m. tomorrow. Yes. Okay, all right, interesting. Well, just before I let you go, maybe your final words to those who are watching us.
I think what I'll say is definitely worth exploring the Freedom Bank account. But I also think one of the things at the heart of this product is partnerships. And so as we're here in Ghana, we really want to be, speaking a lot to the fintech community and, partnering with a lot of the Ghanaian fintechs. We've heard a lot of good things about the fintech space, the regulatory environment, and of course the future of it. And before we leave Ghana, we want to make sure that, we've made a lot of relationships and partnerships with the fintech. So partnerships is on our mind, very big, very key.
Partnerships. If you are there and then you're a fintech or that you can partner them, this is an opportunity for you to have an international partner, especially when these are these are your colleague Africans. Solid partnership there, especially so when they are from they are not our direct neighbors, but they become more than our direct neighbors. Anyway, all right, so your final words.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank Ghana for the hospitality that we've received so far. I was even telling one of your colleagues that my mother is actually half Ghanaian as well, actually. So it's my first time here, so I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
But the openness is key as well. We're looking to get feedback on the product. We're looking to build upon that feedback as well. Like Olu has mentioned, we're looking to partner with as many people as possible, and not just other fintech institutions, but local businesses as well. So yeah, we can help to digitize things and to sort of improve efficiencies across the board.
Okay, all right. So you had Ryan Romeo. He is CEO of Transfar Group Limited, yeah? Transfar
Group Limited.
Okay. And then Dr. Olusiji Sanya. He is a CFO of Transfar Group Limited. Gentlemen, great to have you on the show. I hope you could speak Igbo or that language. Yoruba. Then we could have exchanged one or two. Yeah.
Okay, I can give you something.
He can. Which one, Yoruba or Igbo?
Yoruba.
Yoruba.
Yes.
So how do you say good morning, Yoruba?
Ekaro.
Ekara.
Ekaro.
Ekaro.
Yes.
And what's the response?
Well, the person replies the same thing.
Okay.
Says Adupe, which is thank you.
Okay, Ekaro. I love that one, yeah, Ekaro. Someone is forcing me to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I mean, that question is not finance,
okay,
so I want to shelve it.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you want me to try it.
No.
The person says because you are from Nigeria, will you support your government to say, let's contribute troops and invade Niger? That's the question the person wants me to answer. You can treat it as a rhetorical, or you still want to answer? It should be rhetorical. I get it. Don't worry. All right. So you had Ryan there say that he's enjoying the hospitality of this country, Ghana. Now we want to make it better, but as we want to make it better, some of our traffic lights, and street lights are also causing us problems. So on traffic light today, my colleague Samuel Imbura is at the airport area checking on the malfunctioning traffic, and he joins us live from that area with some update. Imbura, what's happening where you are?
As you indicated, Accra is a beautiful town. It is the entry and exit place for getting into the country. And one would have expected that the airport, which is the exit and entry point into the country's capital, we have proper regulations on the road. However, that is not the entire situation. Just on my left, you notice that the pedestrian traffic light has been dysfunctional for a very long time, exposing some of the commuters here to danger. But what I can say is that the main traffic is somewhat functioning with the help of some officers from the MTTD. So if my cameraman can just pan to my right, you see some officers in the middle of this road ensuring that there is traffic flow. So it is an issue of concern to many so far as road safety is concerned in the country here. Earlier, we were at the barnyard around the Ablekuma Awoshi area. The situation wasn't different, and the commuters there told us that for the past 2 weeks, the traffic light in that area has been, 2 years, sorry, not 2 weeks, 2 years. The traffic light has not been working, exposing dangers, the commuters on that stretch to danger. So they are quite worried about the situation, and they expect that action should be expedited. We know that sometime last year, there were instructions from the National Road Safety Authority to the urban roads. Urban roads is actually responsible for the repairs and maintenance of all these traffic systems in the country. However, that is not the situation. Like I alluded to, the directive from the National Road Safety Authority to the urban roads last year to ensure that all these street lights are functioning properly. That is not the situation here in Accra, and it is raising a serious concern. I have thought not less than 4 traffic intersections in the capital here, and what I can say is that the situation is really chaotic. We are still touring other areas to have a feeling or have first-hand information on what the residents and commuters here are going through. So that is the situation here at the airport intersection. Some of the traffic lights are working. However, the one that directs the pedestrians has been dysfunctional for a very long time, and that's the main concern here. And the call is on authorities to ensure that at least, if not anywhere at all, the airport intersection, which is the face of the country, be it entry or exit, should be properly managed so that it will give a good image to the country, and people who come into the country will have a fair first impression about the management of traffic regulation in the country. Kojo.
Welcome back to the show. Let's wrap up. Now, before I'll come and pick your thought here, and the question we're asking today on the daily graphic, or in the daily graphic, the Presby Church is asking Ghana not to send troops to Niger. We're asking you, the viewer, should Ghana send troops to Niger? Would you support that? Is there something that you think Ghana should do? So go on to Facebook and leave your comment there. We'll take it and share it with the rest of our viewers, okay? But water is life, and we all know that sometimes even when you have not eaten but you have water, is enough for you. Awake is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect sizes for all purposes, 330 ml and 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags, 750 ml for the heavy drinkers, and 1.5 liters for those who always want more. Our 19-liter jar bottles are ideal for homes and offices. All you must do now is to drink Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. Choose a bottle of Awake Purified Drinking Water today and get quality hydration. Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life, because you must remember that for every bottle you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center, another quality product by Casa Preco Company Limited. For bulk purchase, please call 0262 351251, 0262 351251. This advert is FDA approved. Well, so let me share with you some thought coming in from those of you on Facebook who are joining us with your thought here. Now, Eric Edu says the president of Ghana will listen. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Sadat Masahudu says, let them go if they want to. The military till now has failed to restore peace in Boko. Remember, you're going to fight your African brothers. Okay, so that's coming from Sadat Masahudu there. Kwame Rodriguez says, we should first think of our moms, wives and children's safety, because it will be a warfare for Ghana when they put their noses in that issue. Okay. Emmanuel Agbamehia says, old men trying to create war, how long will they live to fight? Emmanuel there. The head says, the president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, will not listen. So that's what he says there. Alhaji Sam says, let them send them. I beg. They just following, okay. They just following politicians. Let them go to the desert and meet men over there. Prince Mugis Coded says, why send troops to other countries when your own country is bleeding? Send troops to Boko and all parts of Ghana where there is chaos. Prince there. Asha Ahaya says, military should take action against members of... okay, I'm not going to continue reading that. Let's pick that up. Kuma Joy says, why do you need to ban Tricycle? Some family depend on it for their survival. Kwabena Danso, let's just come down a bit. Okay, it's none of my business. That's Kwabena Danso. Kwabena Danso says it isn't his business at all. Christian Amekbau says they can go. So that's what Christian is saying. Afi Nyakofobi says, to do what? So she's asking, so Afia Nyakofobi is asking the question, what are they going to do there? Osofo Shiro Dachi says they should go there and pray for them if they will not send troops there. Anyway, does God listen to their prayers? So Osofo Shiro Dachi is asking that question. Yabua Philip says, more than agree. So Yabua says he agrees that we should send the troops. Okay, this is Chinese. I don't know what it means, but the person says, if they want plenty funeral there, so what? Okay, all right then. Let's go up. Okay, so I think that's some comment. You should make sure that your comments are civilized, so that I can share that with the rest of the world. Now you can call us on 0302211691, 0302211691, and share with us. Do you want Ghana to provide troops to support the ECOWAS military to invade or intervene in the Nigerian situation? Give us a call on 0302211691. Let's hear from your thought. What do you make of this? Do you agree that we should send troops or not? It's here on the AM show. Call us on 0302211691 and let's have your viewpoint. But you can still go on to our Facebook page and leave your comment there. We'll share it with the rest of our viewers. Okay, so let's see if we can get our first caller on the line now, 0302211691. Or still, let's see if we can share more of the messages coming in there. Okay, we have our first caller on the line now. We'll be connecting to him or her shortly. Okay, hi, good morning.
I want to contribute to the show.
Okay, sir. Let's have your viewpoint, sir.
Yeah, my name is Joseph. I'm calling from Michel Camp.
Okay.
What will it benefit Ghana when our military goes to that country? What will it benefit us?
Well, we are part of ECOWAS, and one of the things, one of the fundamentals of ECOWAS is to make sure that they promote peace and peaceful coexistence amongst the sub-region. So if they feel one area is threatened, they have to intervene. So I guess that would be the benefit.
Where were the head of state when the man was saying the constitution, which is a recipe for disaster? Now they start down and the disaster has started. What telling us, we the people in the countries, various countries, what are they telling us?
Okay. you have a point there. So he's asking what sort of benefit we'll get and where were they when the man tweaked the constitution to allow him to stay in power for longer. You can also call us on 030-221-1691, 030-221-1691. And when you call us, please don't listen to the television, listen to the phone so we can have a smooth conversation. Call us and let's know from your viewpoint whether or not you agree that Ghana should send troops to join ECOWAS to intervene in the Nigerian situation. What do you make of that? Call us and let's hear from you as well. To all of you who are watching us, grateful to you for your presence behind your TV set to watch us on an AM show. But you can call us now and for us to hear from you. We have another caller on the line. Hi, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from, let's have your thought.
My name is Mr. Mohammed Wari. I'm calling from Sashiosu.
Okay. Wow.
Please, what will it benefit Ghana when we get there? My second thing is that what is happening in Boko, is it out of Ghana or in Ghana? Are they able to solve what is happening in Boko, then going to Niger? They should think of Boko before going outside the country. Thank you very much.
Grateful. But I think we have the capacity to do both. Boko is internal, so you add the police and the military, they will be able to do it. In Niger, we're not sending all our military men to Niger, we're sending a number of them. So I think that is a clarification we should understand to help us in our thoughts there. You can also call us 030-221-1691. Call us and let's have your thought on this particular matter. What do you think? Should Ghana contribute troops to the ECOWAS military team that will be intervening in the Nigerian situation? 0302-211-691. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Andrew, calling from Labadi.
Your name is what and calling from where?
My name is Andrew, calling from Labadi.
Okay, Chief. Let's hear you, sir.
Okay, sir. Why is the government going to Niger right now? Why? The question is why. We are fighting for ourselves. But right now, it seems like the government is going to support the whites to still rule us. Why? My question is why? Why is ECOWAS going to Niger?
Why do you think the government is going to support the whites?
Why is the government going to support? Why is the ECOWAS going to support the whites?
And I'm asking you, why do you think ECOWAS is going to support the white?
Because if they are fighting for their freedom, why should you go and fight against them? Why?
Okay.
Because they are suffering. Everybody is suffering. For me, like this, if I get support, we will start a coup here in Ghana.
Oh, okay, that's enough. Let's pick another person. 030-221-1691. 030-221-1691. Call us and let's have your thought on the issue we're discussing. Should Ghana support ECOWAS with troops, or should we contribute troops to the ECOWAS? The Presby Church today is asking the government not to send troops to Niger. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from. Let's hear you.
Yes, I'm Kingsley calling from Barry.
Okay.
But, you asked a question that why should Ghana send troops to
can you speak up a bit for me so I can hear you? Yes. Yeah.
Can you speak, please?
Yes.
Yes, what I'm trying to say, you ask a question, and mine is simply yes. Because the secret is that we Ghanaians, I don't know, some of us, we don't understand. We have already, it's a hierarchy. We have already joined the UN. In fact, since we joined the UN, we have joined the UN. It's there. It has been programmed in their book. And if there's a help, or there's something for us to help the other nations, I think we have no option. Soldiers are trained to rescue. Soldiers are trained to not only, how do you call it, protect their own people, but then if you have joined a group that will say, okay, if there's a trouble going on in other places, we have to be of help, then we have to do it.
Okay.
I think, from my side, I think yes, we have to.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So that is his viewpoint as well. And maybe we can pick one last caller here so that we have your thought. Should we send troops to support the ECOWAS military to intervene in the Nigerian situation? We know how biting that situation is becoming. The onion sellers in Ghana have already started to reel under the impact of it. So should we send troops to support the ECOWAS intervene in Nigeria? Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
My name is Komala. I'm calling from Kofologia.
Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah. I want to say that what ECOWAS is trying to do, or the heads of ECOWAS are trying to do, is not the best. It is not going to be in the best interest of any of the countries. Okay. Look at the various presidents who are taking this action. Most of them are even illegitimate presidents. Take, for instance, Senegal president. He has changed the constitution of his country to go for a third term. Is that also democracy? But he wants to go and restore democracy in Niger.
Okay.
Look at the Côte d'Ivoire president, for instance.
Alassane Ouattara.
He has also done the same thing. So these people who want to go and restore democracy in Niger, they themselves have a question mark.
Okay.
They also have a question mark. So I think let us be how we are. The president of our country, Ghana, should not commit any military to this fight.
Okay.
I don't think it will bring us any benefit.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling, and I'm grateful. That's where we end the calling segment. We're grateful to everybody, those who watched from wherever. We are so grateful to you for watching. We have a date tomorrow, but of course, this conversation will continue on our social media page. Do you think Ghana should provide military or to contribute troops to the ECOWAS military that will be intervening in the Nigerian situation? Share your thoughts, and the whole world will be reading on Facebook. Grateful that you could join us. On behalf of the team, the producers, the director, the sound guys, the camera, and Nico, and all of us here, we say thank you so much for joining us. We have a date, God willing, tomorrow. News Desk is up next. Good morning.